Uh, hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Hey, man, welcome to, I guess we call it the talk or whatever, or it's Christian Urban Gospel Dialogue here that we're having tonight. Again, we're on Twitch as well as YouTube and other Facebook pages as well. So, I definitely would love for you all to join in on the conversation with us because, again, we want to definitely have try to get some direction on where we're going. Okay. DJ Ronnie Ron, got DJ Jesus Beats, and Mr. C. Hey, fellas, what's going on with y'all?
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing, man? Thanks for having us on.
Good. Hey, man, this is a collective effort right here. Yes. Yo, Beats was good. Yeah.
It's good, man. Doing good. Today's dialogue is brought to you by Scott Tissue in the background right there. So
Okay. Yeah,
Big
definitely.
sponsorship. Big sponsorship.
Big
yes,
sponsorship
Ah,
of toilet
yes,
paper. Yeah.
yes. If you need to get your holy cleanse on,
Holy clean. Yeah, you better do it. Man. Well, yeah, guys. Again, we want to thank you all so much for joining us, and again, we encourage your questions and comments as well for those who are in the Christian hip hop and urban gospel arena. All right, again, we're broadcasting on several different social media platforms as One Accord DJs. All you DJs in there, if you would like to even come on, for a few seconds or whatever, just inbox me, just let me know, and I'll send you the link. And yeah, again, we want to definitely have some discussions that I feel is very pertinent to this issue that we have going on. I mean, I ain't even well, there's a formula to every problem, but we want to move forward as a genre, and handle our business as gospel Christian hip hop artists and things like that. So, yeah, hey, who wants to go ahead on and take it off first? On and take it off first as we talk about the different topics.
first of all, I'm gonna talk about my mama. No, just
What
keep
today's
her name
topic,
out your
self-destruction.
mouth.
I just
Yeah,
somebody head moved back when I did that. Anyway, listen.
yeah, that's it. Today's
Well,
topic, self-destruction. It's really no. Go ahead.
well, actually, we just for I guess anybody who's chiming in, we had a great discussion about a week ago, just
Mhm.
talking about like I think me and Ron talked about it first, but I talked about just having that I was looking for more structure in Christian hip hop,
Hey, Anthony.
and hey, what's up, Anthony? How you doing? And the structure, I think the question that was brought up, I think we talked to Mr. C and you,
Mhm.
Ron, and then Mr. C brought up a good question: is what does that look like?
Yep,
Correct.
exactly.
What does the structure look like in CHH or just in the in general in the genre?
Hmm.
And so after you having that discussion, I went back and just sat down and because that's the same question I used to have too. I had it too, just sitting down and I had to look at different elements of it. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but the what does that look like involves that's like one of the $1 million questions. What does that look like? Well, I think for me personally, just from the observation, it looks like me because nobody can do without me. The signs. No, but
Right.
the structure to me is broken down into phases as far as where I'm looking at where it needs to happen at. One is the financial aspect of Christian hip hop music. How can it be marketed financially? And supported in a financial means because this is what the industry looks at when they ask those questions. Well, how can we financially make profit off of all this music that you guys have, and who are the who's and who are the ones doing this? And then of course it's the structure also goes by how in the music side, like how does music being released and the structure of creating an actual top 20, creating a structure of how music's being supported from all aspects, from the radio side to the 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 internet radio people, the terrestrial radio people, the DJs, the mobile, the podcasters, anyone who is pushing the music. How are we being structured in that one? That's another thing that I had to look at from that side of it. And of course, then last is also that I had to look at was also structure as far as the relationship value and marketing value of artists How are they marketing themselves really well? Are they promoting themselves even better? And so when I'm looking at all these things, I'm looking at it from a observation for almost and doing research for almost well over past the 4-year threshold mark of seeing how music has been released, how artists have been marketing themselves, and the familiarity of the music, which is pretty much one of the worst that we see in CHH because people don't even know 90% of the songs that are being released at this moment, or even songs that get dropped on every Friday. And so, those are the things that I noticed.
Wow. Hey, well said. Well said. Hey, hello, Mr. GP. God bless you, sir. All right. And Antoinette, how you doing? Thank you so much. Anthony, God bless you as well. Again, if you're an artist out there, you would like, or a DJ, and you would like to comment or any questions that you might have. All right. Again, based on what Beats was just saying, because again, we want to definitely create some structure here in Christian hip hop, urban gospel, create a machine so that it could flow smoothly. And that just like how mainstream has a structure, okay, that's what we lack, okay. And Beat said something very excuse me, very important about for us. A whole bunch of music that a lot of you artists put out there, but don't nobody really knows your song. All right. Again, one of the issues is sticking with a song and driving till the nuts and bolts fall off. It's all about redundancy. What are you known for as an artist? What's your signature song? Okay. So go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say Mr. C brought up a great question when he as far as, and I had to look at it from that point of view too. See, I look at it from all angles. I don't look at it just from a DJ's point of view and that's it.
Right.
I look at it from the artist's point of view too, and I have to look at it from the those who are the managers, the publicists, the people who are pushing the artist. Like you got to, if the artist has a team member, whether they're the manager, whether they're the representative of them, I have to look at it from their angle, the testimonies that they go through. And so when I listened to Mr. C, I was like, man, it made me understand from what he has been dealing with his artist, who's his wife, Miss Siri's Voice, and the testimonies, the things that they have gone through, where there has been and a lot of artists go through, where there's a lack of support for the music, and a lot of times, and I can break that down too. But I just want to, that's something that I had to listen. I always like to listen to see what others are dealing with, because I don't want to make it a one-sided where it's just the DJ versus the artist, or hey, you artists need to do all this. I'm not putting all the blame on the artist. Right. I believe that collectively that there are ways that all of us from our experiences can be able to come together and say, okay, these are the things that we notice and these are the things that we can try to work on to try to help improve it. I don't have all the answers. I'm not Sway.
Let me get my voice raspy so I can go in. I'm getting ready. I'm warming up.
but Mr. C, I want to turn it over to you to if you want to share something also. So
collectively, like I've been on, if you will, a hybrid in this thing for over a decade. Radio for a decade, managing a small independent label for 12 years. So I believe that both sides have a responsibility. Now, probably most of my feedback is probably going to come across as, fighting for, defending, or expressing the artist's standpoint, because that's probably the majority. Besides DJing, that's what I'm involved in, probably a good percentage of the time. And that's why I brought up the question: what does structure look like? For a couple of reasons. Number one, a person's word or the integrity from both sides, from the industry side and the artist side, is everything. Number two, with the experiences, and we talked a great detail about this offline, but I'm just gonna throw it out there in general. How can I say, the lack of integrity in certain instances with those bumps in the road from the standpoint of the artist, from the artist side.
Let's talk about that.
Experiencing the lack of integrity from the industry, right? And it's not probably getting on a national level. They might experience this where they are, whatever market they're in, with the industry people, the promoters, the DJs. They experience it enough times. They're gonna, the artists and the labels are gonna say, man, I'm talking about Christian rap in particular right now. I'm not talking about overall. They're not gonna trust. There's gonna be a little to no trust in the industry. Because if you can't hold your word to something small, what makes me think that you're gonna deliver on something bigger? You see?
Come on.
So now, if an artist, and I know of stories, artists, and even so, going from artist to artist, if an artist wants a bigger artist to collaborate on a record, and then the artist keeps the money and never delivers the verse. If people are out there selling books with content of platforms that send their music to and different information in the industry, and then they get the book, and then when they send the emails, probably like half of those contacts are getting undeliverable.
and don't even exist no more, right?
It don't even exist. So you knew, and I was even thinking about this leading up to this broadcast. You knew the people that are selling the books, the people that are selling the pamphlets with all this industry stuff, with all the websites and all the stations. You knew probably that a lot of this information didn't exist anymore, but you still put it in the book, and you're still selling the book for money. How does that make the overall industry look when you're doing it from your space? You're making the whole overall industry, especially in Christian rap, you're making the Christian rap genre look like a bunch of morons. You're giving the genre across the board a black eye. So that's why I'm speaking out. I'm not trying to get in anyone's face, but I am going to challenge the industry to do better.
Yes.
Because let me tell you something. I've been on the side at business conferences, and I paid my money. And these industry people will crush the artists if they don't feel like their records are sounding good, mastered properly, mixed properly, using the right elements. They will crush them. So my question is, when I see stuff like this from the industry side, what is your excuse? Now the industry is going to go hide somewhere, and they're gonna brush it off and play like nothing's going to happen. But this is what's causing a lot of shall I say, a lack of growth and a lack of a lot of things from a Christian rap standpoint. People are going to CCM because even when you go to the CCM based industry conferences, they give you nuggets that you can live by in this thing. I went to a business conference in Philadelphia. They didn't necessarily like Christian rap, but this one particular executive from Radio 1 said something I'll never forget. I have to name drop this because props to her. I don't know. I can't remember her name. When she said this one nugget, I was like, oh my God. As an independent label owner, it really made sense, and I was less frustrated. She was like, I know a lot of people don't they're not getting airplay, and they're not getting their stuff on the radio. And she said, I have to tell you that it's our job to get the listener from the segment after the previous break to the end of that segment, they go into the next break. When she said that, a light bulb went on. I'm just giving you an example of how the CCM based business conferences give you nuggets that make sense. Yeah, and it makes you peel back and say, "Dang, that was fire." When you go to a lot of these Christian hip hop, I mean, at least I know there's one coming up. When you go to a lot of the Christian hip hop business conferences, there's no substance. And I'm saying this because I know other industry people and managers who work with major secular artists and even gospel artists that sat in these things. They're like, you know what? These industry people don't know what they think they know in Christian rap. In Christian rap, they don't know what they think they know. And the more I get wind of what I'm beat making, producing, I'm sitting there like, dang, they didn't really know nothing. And you paying money to go listen to them. Just saying.
Bro, hey,
I want somebody else to be able to
again, hey, if we are making reference to you, then yes, we are, because a hit dog will always holler. Okay. The fact is again, in order for us to have structure in Christian hip hop or urban gospel, we need to stop doing bad business. Okay. And again, a lot of you all out there that are doing bad business in the name of Christian hip hop per se. And see, that's why I stand on Proverbs Proverbs 22:1. A good name is rather chosen than riches. All right. And again, if you are someone who's in the industry doing bad business, you need to stop. Also, that falls on you as the artist. You need to do your due diligence. Okay. Research these people who are offering these services that know that they really cannot produce what they say they do. All right. Again, do your due diligence as the Bible says. So again, hey, that's not our intent to, we're not calling people's names or whatever, but some of the situations that Mr. C said, it has happened.
Yep.
Okay. It has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Hey, Mary, how you doing? All right, Mr.
Hey, Mary.
Hey, if y'all want to comment, if those who are watching would like to interject, whatever, feel free. Okay. Again, we're just having a dialogue so that we can create some change and get a potential structure that we're looking for. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm calling out the issue, not the people.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was thinking about it today. A lot of these industry people in Christian hip hop in particular, I'm not talking about secular, because actually, you can expect that from secular.
Exactly.
But a lot of the Christian hip hop industry people, they're coming in the name of Christ, but when you turn around, you see a knife come out. I'm just saying.
Come on now,
Mr. C.
I just got to talk about it.
Mr. C, you speak. You talking the talk now.
You know,
you talking. You know what I mean, but it's facts.
Yep.
So here's something that I would say one part of the structure, how we can rebuild that structure. That will help. I want to help everybody out because I always look at, okay, yeah, I can. You hitting the points. So let me tell how we can rectify some of these things. Mm-hmm. Okay, this involves artists and their management and whoever's representing them. The biggest problem in CHH when it comes to why we see this redundancy is because we don't have enough business-minded people. Now we have a lot of artists who have business and finance or business and administration degrees, whether in bachelor and master degrees. And yet in Christian hip hop and in the Christian hip hop and gospel community, the biggest problem is we're being too gullible and we trust too easily. Mm-hmm. And we see it time and time again. Now I've been involved with this since 2006. Now, over the years of experience of going to gospel rap events and gospel events and CCM events and all these other things, the most common thing is nobody wants to do contracts. And people get their behinds hurt real quick because I trust XYZ janky promoter that you don't know from the hills of Adam. You don't know if they were descendants of Noah. But
I feel you, man. I feel
you. They come from the line of Canaan, and the great granddaddy was Ham, who saw his own daddy. But I'm just saying. But the thing about it is contracts. Nobody wants to. I mean, and it's not just artists. This is DJs. This is radio people. I mean, I've seen it work because even myself, I can attest to myself that I've made mistakes many times doing verbal contracts. We do verbal contracts more than we do anything in ink and writing.
True.
Because anything that's held into the four corners of a contract means that contract is solid, and and the contract's usually benefited to the person who wrote the contract. So you as the signee would have to make sure that when you sign that contract that you know exactly what you're going to be subject to and what is going to benefit you and what things that you might have to benefit the person that you signed the contract with. But what we see is we got artists that will go to these rap events and stuff, pay $350 to somebody because they have a gospel rap event going on during the Stellar Awards. Not just in general, because I heard some stories. I can go back to 2014 when I first went, or 2013 when I first went to the Stellar Awards. Yep. 2013, I had a DJ an event, and I messed up because I didn't sign a contract. I got kind of suckered into DJing the event for this person, and I DJ'd almost 70 songs, 70 artists.
I was there that night.
The whole event.
I remember
70 artists. $350 a piece, including the mainstream artists that came on. I think it was The Truth at that night. Got all their music and DJ that whole night. And because I didn't do a contract, you know what I walked away with? I walked away with $150.
Oh, what?
And a chicken dinner.
That's how the churches do you, right?
But I learned from it because I had to learn how to go through it so I could be prepared for it. So in 2014, I worked with the same person again in the next event. This time, we did everything by the T. I had a contract, money was already paid in advance, and I had no issues. But because it was my first time DJing an event. The second time I DJed, we DJed for almost 15 in front of 1,500 people. But I had to learn other things. So I had to learn how to market myself because the event wasn't going to market me. They just market the headliners and stuff. But with artists, I've seen artists who paid that amount of money and didn't perform because number one, the time was too long. I mean, it was too short for the artist. So when the artists, they were waiting to get on, but then the headliner shows up. So guess what? You're not opening up for the headliner. There's another artist that they paid to open up for the headliner, to open up for the other headliner. So guess where? And then if they had room, they threw you in, and guess what everybody was doing? Everybody was going out the building. And I was like, the last, me and the sound guy, the last people in there to try to, tear stuff down and get out of Dodge. But the thing about with contracts is in this line of work, no matter if you're radio, DJ, it doesn't matter what your entity is. You cannot, as a Christian believer, be going into this with the verbal contract thinking that the person on the opposite end is going to uphold to whatever verbal agreement that you had. People will change like the wind, like a fart in the wind. They'll change real quick on you. How many times I had to chase the promoter down and meet him at the ATM to get the money?
That's foolish, man.
And that's because of my foolishness, because I didn't learn. But once I learned, now I do nothing but contracts. Everything has to be in writing. When I write my contracts, I make sure I write it to where it benefits me more than it benefits the person who's going to be I'm in agreement with, because if not, I'm going to go through the same cycle. So when I'm seeing the same stories, it's been over 16 years, and I'm still hearing the same stories about artists and promoters and people who are getting shafted over because they dealt with a janky promoter or they dealt with some bad management. They didn't even learn anything. And then, they get their feelings hurt, and then they get mad and they start calling out Christian hip hop. I'm going over to the secular side. Well, I got news for you. For any Christian rapper in here who thinks that the secular hip hop side gives a rat's behind about you, they will treat you like a $2 hoe, and they will smack you upside your head and everything else, and they will throw $2 in your face tomorrow. Go and get yourself cleaned up, because that's exactly what the hip hop community. The hip hop does not care. Now, I heard artists that will say, "Oh man, they show me some mad love." You know why they show you love? Because they don't know that your bank account looks like yet. Right. Because hip hop is based upon money. It's based upon money, sex, cars, drugs, and girls. And if you ain't got none of that stuff, and if you ain't doing what they want you to do, then guess what? They're going to drop you like a bad habit, because they don't care about that. They care about how much money you're going to make. If you ain't making 10 stacks like them, if you ain't smoking that weed like them, if you ain't doing what we do on this side, they don't care. They don't care how dope a rapper you can be. You don't think the industry talks about Lecrae and say Lecrae's he didn't know he's a great guy, but he don't do what we do.
Right.
He ain't on that level. Matter of fact, they talk to Lecrae like as if like he's that uncle that's in the gang, and he's telling you, no, this ain't for you, little nephew. You need to go sit your behind down, go to school, go read some books, go study. This life ain't for you. You already got this. You're on the straight and narrow. We don't need you to be on the dirty path. But that's just how the things. But with contracts, the contract comes into play with artists being wise and learning how to write a contract. Asking, seeking legal advice. Get a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer, somebody that knows how to get a lawyer that can look at the contract that you want to sign, so that way they can look up for the loopholes. They can look for all the okie dokes. And artists are so excited about signing with labels. Why? Why are you worried about signing with the label if the label ain't? Did you do your research? Look at all the artists that signed to the label and see how successful they are. If all of them are still struggling and they're ones trying to promote their own selves, and no management is promoting them, and the label's not behind them, then why would you want to be part of that label? That's another thing, because you signed a contract and you want to sign on 360 deals, go right ahead, because you're going to see what's going to happen when they get your behind real good. And that's the thing I'm trying to talk about, just trying to get everybody aware of. That's just one part of the structure. with that,
Right. Wow. Hey, well said there again. Hey, what's up, Otis Shea? He says that he's a comedian and it's all the same. Yeah, he has contracts as well. And matter of
Christian
fact, he is a
comedians do
funny
that, though.
comedian. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think to add a caveat to you, Jesus Beast, the fact is that a lot of these again, we talk about Christian gospel, whatever you want to call it, call it hip hop and things like that. Those who are in the industry preying on the ignorance of independent artists. Okay. And reason why they do that, because they see your ambition. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you all are starstruck, and so that you want, oh yeah, man, Lecrae or Bizzle, such as, oh yeah. I mean, like, again, they're human beings just like you. All right. They're trying to make money just like how you are. And that's where you need to know your goal for your music. All right. Definitely you need to know the difference between ministry and industry. All right. And if you're going to be in the industry, then yeah, you need to definitely handle your business. Okay. Go study, go learn the business. If not, if you want to pay somebody, all right, well, then let them do it. Someone that you trust. But the fact is you need to check your ambitions, because that's why, a lot of you all will go and pay $300 or $400 just to be on this stage or this showcase and things like that. Because again, your ambition shows. So as the Bible say, be anxious for nothing. Okay.
For a reason.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I mean, after a while, over the years, when Jesus Beast was talking about his experience, you grow. So when you first start out, I'm gonna pay for this, I'm gonna go to this conference, I'm gonna do this, and after a while, you start looking at the the manipulation in the game. And like I said, we're talking about Christian hip hop now. So now what happens is, if you notice certain entities over the years, oh yeah, man, we have we got this night. We you can come on. You can play your music and give you feedback. That is, I just want to talk about that one, for example. That is one of the biggest scams in Christian. I'm going to say in Christian rap. They're going to take your $10. They still going to tell you your music sucks and keep it pushing. They're going to take the next person $10, tell them their music sucks and keep it pushing. Jesus Beast knows I'm telling the truth. And there was one guy, I ain't gonna say his name. He basically, I saw the post after a while. He basically cursed out Christian rap and said, "I'm leaving." Why? Because he knew nobody was going for his foolishness. Because he wasn't making no money off nobody. Oh, nobody support. Because you're not telling nobody nothing that can get their music to be better. I used to sit back and watch it like, let's see how long this lasts.
Mr. C. Then once again, you spot on, man. Because I watched. Now, one of them used to come on. I think he used to come on like Friday nights, and I'm on the air on Friday nights. But he used to come on like around my show usually ends at 9, but I'll usually be carrying over. But I used to watch after 9, just listening to some of the music reviews. I used to listen to another one that we used to be on like Saturdays or whatever, or Tuesday nights, and I would just sit back and just spend like a whole hour checking them out, just without prejudgment, just checking out to see how they're reviewing the music. Number one, the biggest issue was that the person who's reviewing music was a producer, which I believe is the worst person to review music, because producers have an ear for only hearing their own type of production.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. That's fair. But if you have if you're going to review music, you need a panel. So you need more than just one person. You need a set of ears. At least have multiple ears of people who come from different aspects of the music. So I would have somebody who would, if you can get somebody like in your area that represents like the radio side or music side of distribution music, like maybe somebody who's a DJ, if you can get a DJ. And if you get somebody else who's like somebody else, another group of set of people. And that way you can get a better understanding of the song, because sometimes even myself, I have to tune myself out. Like I had to shut down for almost a whole month and retrain my ears, because if I hear a certain style, I get accustomed to it. And then I don't want to hear anybody else's music when I listen to other new music that comes in my inbox. And that's because of growth. That's because of growth, over the years, that I learned how to respect when an independent artist sends me music. I want to be able to hear it in its truest form without prejudice. So sometimes I will just, take a whole month and not listen to no music that I can't control. If you're at the job, you got to hear music, whatever, or in this car, whatever. But as far as me indulging in music, I just clear my ears out And then when I'm ready, after a month, I'm ready to hear this new song, and I'm able to give a better understanding of where this song fits at. Does it fit? Because no, I don't believe that there's a whack song unless you just can't sing or can't rap. I just believe that some songs are made to be in certain arenas in certain places. All right. A lot of artists will send me new music and like, hey, this is the hottest song in the summer. And I'm like, no, that's not made for radio. But it is made for a radio show when I have a theme where I need this song because the message is very powerful, and I need to play this song because it encourages somebody, and it sets the theme for my radio show. If I have a theme, let's say for talking about abuse or talking about marriage or talking about love, that's that, or a podcast. A podcast, people can use it because they can like, hey, this is our proud song that we want to use to close out or open with because it sets the tone or theme. Then there's some songs that's made for certain demographics of people. So if you got a song that sounds more old school rap, it's not made for the young generation. It's made for the older people that like old school rap music, like maybe those who grew up listening to Kool Moe Dee and Fat Boys and Heavy D. They might that style might be for them. But there's always some place where your song can fit into. It's just not, when I hear, well, it's for everybody. Okay, yeah, it might be for everybody, but it might be for everybody in a certain, arena. That's how I critique. But when I started seeing these critiques, like you said, they trash the artist so bad. Mm-hmm. And I hate that. I cringe upon that because I don't believe you should tell no artist your music just sucks, and you don't give them no constructive criticism to help them grow. All right. All you talking about, well, you're using this, and you need to stop using Pro Tools. Okay, that's cool. That's the technical side of things. But yeah, they never talk about the structure of the song, the lyrics, how the lyrics impact. Okay, I don't believe that this beat is right for this song, but this lyrics is on point. You don't talk about how the song can impact somebody's life. They just talk about just the cosmetics of the, that make up the song as far as the beat, the production. And so that's, yeah, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry, Ron.
I was say that's and largely that's in part to, again, the lack of structure that we have in Christian hip hop, because we're trying to emulate what mainstream is doing, and we are called to be different. We shouldn't be tearing down each other. So, okay, yeah, if the music may not be good, as you say, give them some constructive criticism, and then you, the artist, you need to be mature enough to accept that. Okay, because again, you're asking of our time. Hey, look, can you listen to my music or so? And again, time is always money. All right. So again, it's time to grow up. All right. It's time to grow up because again, everybody's not going to like your music. That's just it. Again, that's why the Bible said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. All right. I mean, again, he created everything, but look at you. If you're in the industry, you're up against millions of other Christian hip hop artists, urban gospel artists, whatever you want to call it, that are doing the same thing that you are. So you have to find those followers that like what the style of music that you put out. That's why you need a marketing strategy. That's part of the music industry, the music business. You need a marketing strategy. Okay. And hey, real quick, I just want to, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you. Mary says showcases only have artists in the building and they don't support each other's music. Well, most of the artists are not going to support another artist's music because they're trying to push their music out there. All right.
Yeah. Again, it's all about them.
Exactly. Because again, you're in competition even in gospel. Okay. It is. Hey, what's up, BBJ? How you doing? He's saying the earth is saturated, religious commentators instigating and all that. Yeah, it is. And but again, we don't have to be a part of that. For sure. All right. Again, what's up, everybody? Hey, if you got a question out there, what is it that you would like to see done in Christian hip hop? All right, in the industry business side. All right, what it is that you, as an artist, what are you looking for? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to speak from I'm a collaborating artist. I consider myself singing hooks and stuff like that in my history, like at this level where me and my wife Serious Voice at. But I will say this. I'm gonna call out not a specific person. I'm gonna call out the Christian hip hop industry, the panels at these conferences. Listen, one thing that used to irritate me, I haven't been to a conference in a while. When I used to go to conferences, used to hear these guys on panels say the same thing, trying to sound like they know what they're talking about. Yo, your snares are dated. I'm like, yo, you got one more time to tell me my snares, like. Everybody used to say the same thing on these panels, is my point. Everybody. Nobody said anything different. Nobody stood out to me with actual knowledge of how music is produced to be able to say, yo, you need to do this, 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 this. So I can actually take notes and run back and say, work with a producer. They just say the same generic garbage at every conference for the most part. So I'm just challenging the industry. If you want to say that you want to see the industry get better, well, then critique people in a way where they can get better. Otherwise, get off the panel. You don't need to be on there.
Mm-hmm. You once again, you right on the money. And I'll say this: some of the panels I've seen over the years, they always bring in what they believe are the popular people. But
right,
number one, you're putting artists on there, right? So they put the artists on there, but artists can only see for themselves. So a lot of these artists that they put on the panel is for show because these artists draw people in. For example, if I was thinking of trying to bring together a one of those type of events like that, and let's say I got to get a couple of A-listers, all right, in CHH. If I can get NF and Lecrae together, that'd be like that's going, well, I'm just saying, like, it's not going to be definite, but because their names are out there, or Bizzle, I'll bring them on the panel because I know people are going to come to see the event, to go see them.
That's fair.
So these guys on the panel, and they ask these questions, these guys don't know because they don't listen to everybody's music. You see what I'm saying? They're not on. So, but what's missing from the panels over the years has been solid, qualified DJs who know their music.
True. That's true. That's true. That's 100% true.
I'm gonna name drop one right now that they don't even invite. That's DJ Raw Jesus.
Yeah,
that brother alone. Plays more independent artists. He's
straight ministry heat.
Full-time DJ that plays 90% of the artists that most of us don't even get a chance to hear. Sometimes I'm watching his live feeds just to check out what songs he's putting. Another one, DJ Sean Blue.
Yeah.
Sean Blue will come out of the woodworks with people that you were like, wow. Another one they don't put on there that most people might not know, but his name is Tony Dallas, Tony D on the radio. Tony D does the independent gospel side of artists. This guy will find some of the most hidden gems in gospel music and all, plethoras of music. And he's been doing this for almost close to 2 decades now, 2 or 3 decades. And he's very professional. So you're not putting the people that really know music, that have an ear for the music, that they don't just gonna tell you about your snare drums and you gotta do this drum kit. They're gonna go more in depth with your music, where your music sits at. I like what you're doing and I like this song, but I think you need to clean this up. But this is where I see your music being at. This is where I see it can be played at. This is where I can see it can be supported. You don't put DJs on there because every DJ has a favorite DJ that has a favorite DJ as a friend. And so one thing the artists are forgetting to use is the DJ, because if you submit your song to a DJ who has 9 other friends as DJs and the song is great in their ears, guess what they're going to do?
Sure.
They're going to be your A&R rep and forward the song to the other people that they know.
Right.
Matter of fact, sometimes I get on the phone and I'll be, checking out with some of the brothers and say, hey, man, have you heard the new one? Have you heard this? Oh, yeah, man, I already got it in my inbox. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So we know exactly what we, even independent artists. I didn't know about artists like Shawan and Mike Teasy until I heard from DJ Sean Blue when he was playing them. And all these others.
This past year, I was listening because iRock would service a lot of us. And I was listening to that Mike Teasy joint. I can't remember the name of the album, but the music is fire.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
It is. Yeah, Mike Teasy.
Another person mentioned here, DJ Mr. E. That's another one. DJ Matt Cummins. Yeah. DJ, I think it's DJ Mr. E. Rich, I think his name is. He does the house side of things. I mean, there are so many people who I could name drop right now who have really been working behind the scenes and working in front of the camera, really pushing a lot of the music. But those are the things that, and like I said, I'm not putting DJs on a pedestal because we have dropped the ball many times. Okay, I have dropped the ball more than anybody else. I'm like Cam Newton right now.
hey, real quick, let's get into this question right here. It says, how does Christian hip hop artists get music into the hands of CHH agents or people who believe in the genre?
Okay,
I know Beats is gonna go deeper, but I think I'm gonna start this one.
Go ahead, start it.
Because I was talking to SV about this because we help artists in the back end too. We got our artists we manage and stuff. It's the obvious things that continues to be said in these conferences and even from posts from DJs like yourself, Beats. We post some good stuff over the years.
Yeah,
artists are still doing the same thing, and this is even established artists, that gets on my nerves. Honestly, they're gonna send you just because they have a report. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna send you an email with the track, sometimes with track one, sometimes with metadata, and they're gonna be like, here's the track. I'm like, dude, where's your bio? Where's your information? You know what I'm saying? Where's your social media tags? I don't care if I know you for 20 years. Do engage in executing your submissions the right way every time. Because you don't know if I send something to DJ Jesus Beats, I send something to Hot 316, he might take that email without changing it and he might forward it to somebody else if the music is hot. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So if you as the artist, and this is a bi-directional thing. I'm not just smashing the industry people. If you as the artist don't execute your business right, your music is going to continue to sit in the inbox by every radio station, internet or terrestrial around the world, and it's not going to go anywhere because you didn't handle your business.
Man. Well, could I get the collection played around? Can I get the played around?
I know Beats is gonna take it further, but I just want to start that off.
No, you said it. You said it. I mean, it's like all that I can piggyback off of and say is what you're saying is correct. And to answer to this young guy's question, also, how does Christian hip hop artists get music into the hands of CHH agents or whoever, or people who they believe is in the genre? I always tell like this: the best advice I can give to any artist is start locally, start small. If you know a DJ, and not just Christian DJ, also a gospel DJ, get it into the hands of the DJs that's around your region. I don't really care if the DJ's in the club or the DJ is at an event or they're doing like those let's say March for Dimes events for breast cancer, or they're for the Y, or they're, we got DJs that be in these those little bounce places where the kids be bouncing and they got a DJ in there mixing. I met with a DJ and I gave him my information. I gave him some music for him to play in there. So, nice. So it's, because he's playing all the chart topping songs, but I was like, hey, play. I got coming in hot for you. The kids will love this, or playing some basic stuff that they can play. So those are things that you got to, that I encourage any artist to do, is to work with everybody, even people on radio. If you got somebody who has a radio show, they on a radio station, be friends with them. Just build a friendship first. Don't come out with your hand out yet. Just come out and say, hey, this is what I do. Share your testimony.
Come on now.
And you got to step out in faith, and you got to ask God to lead and guide you into this. All right. You got to get a confirmation from God. You can't be sitting there just making decisions up and saying, well, I don't need you, God. I'm going to do it myself. I know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing. Because if you don't build a relationship and you don't have a relationship with God, you don't get that confirmation, then it's going to go south, because God is going to allow it to not manifest. So you got to come with humbleness. It's the same way, like I tell you, build relationships with the pastors in all these churches in your cities. All right. Not everybody said, okay, let's talk about this. All right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Everybody said he's from the ATL. You know what Atlanta is really like? Atlanta has sub-cities. You're either in you're either outside 30 minutes outside South in Jonesboro, or you're in McDonough, or you're in Roswell, or you might be living in Riverdale. You might be on the east side. You might be in DeKalb County, but you're not in ATL. You just happen to call it all that. So you got to start within your own communities. Build a relationship with the pastors.
Yeah, BBJ.
Don't get mad with the churches and say, oh, well, man, the church ain't supporting me. How the heck they going to support you? They don't know what the heck you do.
They don't even know you.
They don't even know exactly. Man, hey, man, wow. See, man, hey, man, that's another rabbit hole that we can definitely go down for sure. Because again, a lot of you are afraid to go out there and just be social, be friendly. You know what I'm saying? Let folks know who you are. All right. But then you want to either hire somebody and ask them to do it for you, and they've got nothing to promote you. Okay. Matter of fact, I want to go.
Can I give just one quick perfect example of what y'all are saying?
Go ahead.
Now, this Outpour conference that's coming up in August at Church City, USA, right? Now, Richie Wright is the pastor, Pastor Richard Ismail. We had a conference at our home church this past week, and Richie Wright was the headliner on the Saturday, and he did a concert. And one thing that's consistent about him, whether it be at his home, on his home turf or at somebody else's church, even when he does an hour and a half concert, which he did minimum up to 2 hours, he's in the lobby speaking with people, just connecting with people. He spoke to me for a few minutes, and this is the difference between someone that's legendary like that, and the one who think they all of that. They come like 40 minutes late and they leave an hour and a half early because they think, oh, the more events I go to, the better. Sometimes that backfires.
Yes, man.
That backfires. Because like some people, some of those artists have done that to me. You know what? I stopped playing their music. I don't put them in my playlist. I don't put them on my mix shows. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, because you got to have a little bit of humility when you're doing this stuff. You can't just come in, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be 2 hours late and then leave what's up with that?
And see it,
artists right now.
Hey, artists, again, that's not Christ-like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. If you want God to elevate you, you have to lift him up first, and he will draw all men unto you. Okay. Yeah. Again, this is ministry right here. But I'm gonna touch this real quick. It says build with all the DJs you have a relationship with and keep supplying them with music, especially if they're playing you heavy. Most definitely. Oh no, this was the comment that Scooter made. Maybe DJs need to help artists understand how to properly send music. That could be a big thing that artists don't know. A lot of DJs have been doing that, all right, for years. But a lot of artists just don't listen.
Well, I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna do a little class, like a little master class on it. You don't have to nobody have to pay for it. I'm gonna show artists how to do the right package. It took me some time because I was we've been getting a lot of submissions from the gospel side. The gospel community, oh my goodness, I love the gospel community because they give you every detail of everything. They give you the Dropbox link, everything they give you. Now we're still working with instrumental acapellas with them, but at least they give me, like, I get exclusive stuff from Maverick City Music and stuff like that. We're working with the CHH, and I'm just going to do something to teach them. But the most important thing, just the bare minimum that you need to do for artists, all you have to do is get this information. Number one, you need your artist name, all right? And we need a pronunciation of how you say your name. So if you got accents, your sound might be Nigerian. I don't know how to pronounce it because most of us in radio will butcher your name live on the air because I've done it many times. When Wande had her name, I didn't know how to say Wande. I was saying Wayne.
Oh, snap,
man.
Wow.
Because
you're gonna get you.
Yeah. But hey, listen, that's on them. That's on Reach Records for messing that up because they didn't give us no pronunciation guide how to say these artists' names, like Paris Sheriff, or whatever his name is.
Paris Cerise, yeah. I don't even know saying it right.
I used to call it Paris Chevy. So I was like, okay, I didn't know. Because
the funny thing about Wande's been around for years. A lot of people didn't know about her.
Yeah,
like because she's from Austin, Texas. So my wife met her years ago at South by Southwest. So if you're not in certain pockets, you would have never knew about her back in the day.
Exactly. But it's just your artist name, your pronunciation, your name. You need the name of the track, the name of the song, and the featured artist that's attached to all the featured artists that's attached to your music. We need your ISRC code number that your song is registered with. Why is ISRC code important? Because your ISRC is like your social security number to your song. It's tracked for what's called BDS. If you don't know what BDS tracking is, then you got to do another masterclass with that. I suggest you use Google real quick to find out how BDS is monitored, because that's how your music is being measured and monitored by all the streaming services that you register your music with, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal, and of course radio that monitors music. Then we need a lyric sheet. Okay. And the reason I do this for rappers because some of y'all like to cuss in your music, and I need to know exactly what you're saying.
Come on, man.
Sometimes I don't know what you're saying now.
We talk about Christian hip hop music here.
You're dropping, some of y'all dropping the N-bombs real quickly. You're dropping all these words, and you got to remember. Some of y'all got to remember now when you releasing music to radio, to us on radio. I'm on a terrestrial station. the FCC will be on me faster than the FBI would. So they will find the station anytime there's foul language or anything, any type of certain words that's on the air. So if you're going to be cussing in your music, don't even send that song.
Yeah,
or
Christian hip hop.
Clean it up. Don't even clean it up. Just don't send it to me. So because I'm not going to play it. But the other thing what you need is your cover art and your bio, a little short bio. You don't have to do a long bio, do a short bio. Why is a bio very important? Because some of y'all like to ask for interviews. I'm not going to interview you off of one song that you just sent to me. If you don't have a lineage or history of music, I need to know who you are, what you've done, and things like that. Put all your accolades. If you've been, whatever you put in your bio, get somebody to write it for you if you need to. And but the more information you give about your song is very important. Then the most important thing, the meat and potatoes, your music, MP3 and WAV files. If you send MP3, do not send it in 128. Don't send it in 192. Don't send it in 256 kilobytes per second. Send it only in 320 kilobytes per second. If you don't know how to do that, check with your engineer, your music master, whoever master your music, whoever produce your music. They can convert it for you. Now send WAV files. Send them in the highest quality too, because a lot of times WAV files, we can convert it back to MP3 if we need to, because some stations play WAV files only. But along with WAV files, you can't send it in a regular email just like that. You're gonna have to use a music service
like WeTransfer.
WeTransfer. Well, WeTransfer, you can do it if you pay for the main service. But if you want to track how you're sending your emails out, then you can use Dropbox. Like most of the gospel major labels in gospel are using Dropbox. They send me to me in Dropbox, and I'm able to have access to the Dropbox folder, and they put everything. They put everything in there about that artist that they're marketing, whether it's it doesn't matter who it is. It can be Ty Tribbett. I know about Ty Tribbett's life history before I even, I even know that he got a church in Orlando. I didn't know about that until Ron told me. But those are things that they put in there. So and when you email, you can use MailChimp. You can use there's mass email services that you can pay for to where you can dress it all up, make it look very professional. Richard, I probably, I'll get example. I got to get permission from one of the groups that sent me one. I'll get permission from them, and in the future, I can show you guys how it looks and how professional it looks. And guess what? I'm over there clicking on the email. I got everything I need, and I got all the information. And the most important part is the tagging of your music. If you don't know how to tag your music, we're going to have to do a crash course on that, because that is the most important thing. That's what we call metadata that's in the song files. So when we play it in our music players and our DJ programs and on the radio automation systems, all that information that's inside that song file is supposed to show up into our system. So it eliminates us from doing any type of cosmetic work to your music file. But a lot of you guys like to send, track one, master or breath of the title of the song. Like the title of the song could be Breath of My Heart, in parentheses, master 3.3.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
And no artist name. You're like,
no artist name. I've had emails that were so vague. They just sent the song file. Check this out, nice. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Even if I Shazam it, it's not nothing. And of course, the most important thing is registering your music. If you don't register your music with ASCAP or BMI, or if you're not selected by CSAC, and you don't have your music registered with Sound Exchange, you don't have your music registered with BDS, and there's another one that they have for monitoring music. If you don't have all these free entities, free, not paid, free, all free. It's a lot of work, but if you get it all done, your music will be ready for whoever, because it's about first impression. Remember, artists, your music is like going to a job interview. If you've never been to a job interview, but if you've been to one, you know that first impression is your last. And so that means when you go in there into a job interview, you're wearing a suit, a tie, you're wearing khaki pants, you're wearing something that's professional. Because why? Because the person that you're going to be interviewed by has to judge you first by your appearance. They judge you by your appearance first. They judge you by your manners. They judge you by how the way you carry yourself, and they judge you by how the way you respond to questions. But in the music world, your job interview is how the presentation of your music file is sent to us. Yep. So if you send it sloppy, then we automatically think that you're a sloppy artist. Now, for me, I don't just throw things away. I just know that most artists are brand new and they need a little bit more additional help. So I'm going to work with you. I'm not going to tell your music's trash. I'm not going to tell you anything negative. I'm going to communicate with you and say, hey, all right, this is the information I need. And then the artist will, they'll send all the information back. They just didn't know. And I understand, because a lot of us don't know. And a lot of you guys, even though it's still 2022, I understand. I do understand that some of you guys are not being taught that yet. So,
but I think part of the issue too is the fact is there's information is just being put out there, and we've been and there's folks that have been putting information for years, and the same artists, you're hearing this, but you're not acting upon it. You're still in the same situation 2 to 3 years from when I first met you. Okay, so it's just like, again, faith without works is dead. If you're not going to apply the knowledge, then what's the point of you getting it? Because you're wasting your time. All right, and so. Yeah, it does require work. You know, what does success look like to you? What is your goal for your music? All right.
I'll say that real quick. I just want to touch on something. Now, Beats, you've been talking about the business side of. I know a lot of New York City artists, and over the years, you start asking yourself, "Yo, why isn't so and so on the Christian hip hop charts? Why isn't so and?" And then you're like, "Hold up, they're not doing their business." Yeah, they're lyricists. They're some of the illest lyricists in the game, and they have album releases and they have awards. So hold up, they're not doing their business right. They don't submit. They don't engage in the right music submissions. They're not registering their music. All stuff. So a lot of the I'm talking about the established artists. I'm not talking about the new artists. A lot of the established artists that me, you, and Ronnie know. We know if I start calling names, you gonna know. They are not. They either don't have a management team that's doing this work for them, or they just too lazy to even try to engage in these things to get themselves to another level. From an industry standpoint, for people to recognize. I'm
glad you mentioned it. I'm glad you see. Man, Mr. C on point tonight, man. Yo, fire. But yeah, no. What you're saying is so correct, and it's because we have. The structure I'm talking about, or I was telling about earlier, the structure is that, number one, we have a lot of people that want to be rappers, but we don't have, like I said, we got some highly educated brothers and sisters who may want to rap, but they got a degree in business and finance that they ain't using. They ain't tapping into those resources, because we do need more people that can be business minded, as far as agents, as far as as far as in the business, in the entertainment world, to learn about those things in the entertainment industry, so that we can be able to help guide CHH. But also with the artists, like you said, the other issue is that a lot of artists are just only looking at the facade of the secular side. So what they see monkey see, and it's a monkey do. So monkey sees that XYZ artist who is well known in the game right now, who's making, like, for example, let's talk about, and I ain't gonna talk about no secular art, but I'm just saying that XYZ secular artist is well known, right? But they don't know this. They don't know what the XYZ artist is going through, because the XYZ artist has a management team, they have a business finance team, they have an agent, they have all these people that's playing their part. The artists, most of these secular artists, are already $3 to $5 to $10 million in the hole when they get signed to a label. They are in the hole. You have gotten an advance in money, and now you got to make 3 or 4 albums to pay off that one. And if you don't pay that first album off, they get you to do a second album, and now you're in the hole with the second album. Then you work with the first. So what you see is the facade of these artists. And we think that on the Christian hip hop side, well, I can do that too. But you ain't studying the industry part of it. You just looking at the grass that looks green, and you want a piece of that good old American hip hop pie, when we all know it's controlled by the Jews. But that's another story. But right, the people that's running hip hop don't look like us.
No, they don't.
Are making millions of dollars off of it. Their kids and grandkids will be going to private schools off of the ignorancy of secular rap.
Ignorancy.
But the ignorancy. But But all that to say, going back to the main meat and potatoes of this, the issue that we see, when I see the biggest mistakes that artists are making in CHH is releasing too much music all at once. And we see this right now.
Facts.
You know how many now I like I told you, I did research for 4 years, but just recently within the last 2 years, I did some research even after the pandemic because I wanted to see how music was being measured. And there was one artist that was releasing well over 20 songs within almost a whole year. The 20 songs in 1 year. Now, every last one of those 20 songs was fire. But but when you asked, when I had to go back and I said, you know what? I'm playing this on my radio show. I haven't now Hot 316 radio is a different thing because I haven't really done, I'm doing a different project with the station. I have not added any new music and within well over 2 years to the station because I'm testing out something with the music that I have running to get people more familiar with the music I've been playing. But with the radio show, I've been testing it out. And the thing about it was I had to sit back and ask myself, I couldn't name one song from this artist that I could literally say that people are talking about. Mm-hmm. See, the artists have been, most of these artists, like within New York, it doesn't matter where they live at. They got this philosophy of thinking, somebody, I don't know who told them this. Who told you this? That releasing more music will make you stay relevant. Yes, if you're popular, but that's not for you as an independent artist. That's for the mainstream artist who has already made a name for themselves. So they can, because what they do is they release what's called appetizers until the next project comes out. So, but for the independent artists, you're releasing 50, 60 songs, and yet we can't even make a top 20 because we got too much oversaturation of music.
Too much.
Every Friday, there's at least about 60 plus Christian rappers, from independent to even a well-known one, that releases a project or releases a single. And guess what? You go back almost a month before that, the same well-known artists and these other artists release another single before that. So what we're seeing is the structure is being destroyed. And it's funny how artists will sit there and say, well, we don't want to listen to the DJs and we don't want to listen to we don't need to send our music to the DJs. We got the Spotify, we got Apple Music. But yet y'all still want to chase after the secular hip hop people, and you're contradicting yourselves.
Come on now.
If you want to learn from the secular side of of hip hop, you would learn that hip hop uses DJs nonstop. They use the DJs in the club first. I'm a part of 5 independent, well-respected record pools that distribute music to DJs. It's a paid service. 5 of them are in the top 10. And guess what? They get the exclusive from a well-known artist, like for example, Beyonce. Beyonce's project was in there a month before he dropped out to the public in one of the record pools. Her whole album was already out to the DJs in advance.
Yo, Ron, did you charge him an admission fee to get in here? Listen, man, it's only room for one New York City DJ on here. Why you on here, man? This is my house.
Cue the prophet.
Hey, DJ, take Pakusa. What's up, man?
What's going on? I had to jump on in here because there was so much nuggets that's being dropped. Shout out to DJ Jesus Beats, DJ Ronnie Ron, DJ Mr. C Live, my antagonizer.
Did you see when he came in? There was smoke that came in under.
Glory, God.
Listen, man, I've been having fun with Q the Prophet for years, man. We first met. It's been nothing but a comedy roller coaster ever since. And I know he was serious the other day, but he knows me. He knows how it goes.
Man.
But so it's so much here that's important because as an artist myself that's been involved with record labels, that's seen the behind the scenes, and that's seen so much of the smoke and mirrors per se. It behooves artists that that everything that glitters isn't gold, and
Come
why it's most
Mhm.
important, why you have to stay on your grind, you know, and why you got to be very diligent when it comes down to the business and everything. You know, the reason why CHH hasn't really gone to the heights and the depths that it's supposed to, number one, bad management.
Come on.
Because
Yeah.
some managers can be damagers, not not understanding contracts, not understanding how the way the music business goes, and also at the same time not understanding how business
Take a
practice and
spot.
everything goes on. And the thing is, at the end of the day, it's more than just talent.
Come on.
Talent is
Mhm.
10% minute of the thing. The business is 90%. Having the right
Amen.
lawyers, having your publishing right. Because listen, we've seen the bad examples in the secular. I mean, I mean from artists signing with labels, and then at the same time, not only just signing with the label, but then they sign to the publishing company. So all these hits that's going multi-platinum now is going into the pocket of the publishing company in the name of the son or,
Mhm.
or the daughter of the CEO of the label.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
There's a lot of bad boys out there, pun intended. But anyhow, so that's why I say that, in CHH, and I'll encourage anybody, like from my example, how I became big in the underground scene. I built a lot of relationships as an only Christian artist in the secular, like DJ Bedtime 357, who's Remy
Mhm.
Ma's DJ.
Yep.
I built relations with him. I've been on his radio show. I built relationships with Sean Blue, that was mentioned. DJ Tony Tone, the Blessed Kept Secret, way
Yeah.
Mhm.
before he got on High 97.
I forgot
You
about Tony
know,
Tone.
yeah, shout out to him. I built relationships with them, and then the ultimate goal, basically, that really sparked everything was when a divine connection with DJ K Slay, God bless his soul,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember
became the
him.
thing. And the song Mama's Only Child was not only on the Concrete Angels album.
Yes, I remember that. I love
I
that
still got that
song.
album.
I still
Still got
got it
that album.
too. I still have it.
Thank you. Not only was it big on the Concrete Angels album, and I got to shout out my brother, Pastor Richard Ishmael, aka Richie Righteous, who put me on that
Yes.
compilation album, but that song landed on DJ K Slay's mixtape first, Conquer the World Volume 2. So and that right there, what was like the groundbreaking, settling and foundation of Q the Prophet. And this is why I encourage artists that stay independent, build with the DJs. Don't put out a flood of music.
Come on, man.
Mm.
Don't do that. Like, and I'll tell artists that the average album is 10 to 12 songs. If it's 13, it's like a bonus track.
Mhm.
Songs that are under 10 is an EP.
Right.
Songs that are 10 tracks, that's an LP. But anything that's more than 10, like close to 20, 30 songs, is a complete mixtape. You know,
Doing that.
so you may want to balance that out a bit. Split that out for
Walk
the
with
next album.
me, Lord.
Hey, see, we need this kind of authenticity here. All right. That's why we're having this conversation, so that we can definitely get some structure within Christian hip hop. All right. Again, if you would like to definitely come on board, like my man Omega Sparks here, that's definitely been grinding for sure. Hey, we're all in this
guys.
together.
This guy right here is the new place, the current placement king.
Yeah.
No, seriously, man, you doing your thing, man. And
Yes, grinding.
Mr. Video games.
Q the Prophet, I'm a witness to Q the Prophet, what he said. Because a lot of people are phony. But
Come
I
on.
met Q the Prophet when Serious Voice converged with him ultimately on there was a New York City underground movement called Burn You movement.
Yes.
And Q the Prophet was associated with Burn You. And Burn You on the underground did a lot of great things. They were doing shows, festivals. One time we even went out to MetLife for the National Urban League with the HBCU Classic in the parking lot. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So yeah, man. Yep. So that's why I met Q. So he's telling the truth. That ain't no fake stuff going on there. It's real.
Wow. Hey, Omega Sparks, man, what do you want to add to this dialogue, sir?
You know, I honestly don't have much to add. I was listening to it on my phone since it began, and I was under like the generic Facebook user.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why StreamYard does that for some reason.
It's been nothing but wisdom and nuggets. So I was trying to, you know how you're trying to form a question, like, man, I wanna like participate and bring like a question that's thought provoking. I'm trying. It's still in my head. I can't get it out, but I appreciate the wisdom that's been displayed tonight. And as far as for I have my own stance, as far as for like Christian hip hop and I just say I come from the artist standpoint. I'm a big brother in some circles, and I've put out a lot of fires. And there's a dark side of this where people are giving up on the faith. They're depressed. They're having fights with their wives and their kids and they're giving up on God because they got something in their head of how a successful Christian hip hop career should go, and it's not panning out. And the Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. And there's been so many artists for decades that put out an album, they don't see anything from it. They rinse, repeat, do it again. They don't see any results, and to the point where they just, and so I guess if I had a question, how do you fix a music artist that has been doing it wrong habitually for years, for multiple albums? How do you tear someone down and then build them up from the ground level and really restore them? I mean, people are depressed, suicidal. I mean, it's really real out here,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna answer that in one way from personal experience. And this is a real situation. I'm just gonna throw my wife's name out there. SV. We applied, I believe it was in 2016 to South by Southwest, and everybody, I shall say, a lot of artists they know what I'm about to say. They got that rejection notice. We regret to inform you, just like from the job. That sent her into a tirade in our apartment at the time. I want to quit. She wanted to quit. So if anybody hears a testimony, it's real. She wanted to quit. And in that moment, I let her vent. And I said, you talking crazy. Multi-award nominated artist. You don't been on this platform. You've been on that platform. You're doing hot music. Now, I'm not saying we was doing everything right. I'd be lying if I said that. But what I did tell her is, I'm putting you on that plane. So what I'm trying to say is the answer to that question, the short version is, the artist, I pray, would have somebody in their corner that would speak life and speak God into the situation, so that it can resurrect them as a person, and it can resurrect their confidence in what they're doing to go forward. And then she went on, and a lot of people that follow her know her testimony and know some of the platforms that she was on ever since. If she quit, a lot of the stuff that she experienced with placements and different platforms would have never happened.
Right.
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna add to that right there. Can I speak some life into somebody today? Can I speak some life? Let me tell you something. That's a great question, because I've seen it happen with a lot of people. There was this one artist I remember. They were not becoming successful with their music. Their music was subpar, and even I had to tell them that. So I had to be real with them. And I think the most important thing is you got to be honest with somebody. People respect you more when you're honest than to be somebody that's sugarcoating it. But I sat them down and we talked, and I said, you know what? God has blessed us with other gifts, and we got multiple gifts that we're blessed with. And what I realized was that they were great at doing graphic design, in their own field. And so I said, why don't you ever thought about doing graphic design and trying to make something for it? But they were like, well, I want to rap, I like doing it. It accomplishes. I said, yeah, but you might have to treat this like a hobby and do the graphic design as something that you can be lucrative at it. Right. This young man went back to school, went down to Full Sail University.
Wow.
Nice.
4 years ago, got a degree, and now is designing games and all kinds of stuff like that. But let's go deeper than this, because we got some living testimony up in here. I'm gonna talk about you, Omega Sparks.
Who, me?
Yes, you are a juggernaut.
Got them songs on wrestling. Get them wrestling songs.
This brother. If y'all want to see some great testimony, you watch people. You just have to watch people from a distance. You don't have to know all the whole history, but you watch them from a distance. I've watched this brother since the day when I used to have all your mixtapes. Okay, all right, and when I watch how we used to, me and D White used to be on the radio on our gospel station here, and we watched this brother grow into where I knew there was a frustration, because I remember there was times where you were just frustrated with CHH and you were frustrated with where you were going at, producing a lot of music and stuff, and it just wasn't going the way that you wanted to go. But you didn't, even if in the midst of you trying to think about giving up, you didn't. You found something that most people didn't even think about doing, which was tapping into the video game realm, where you're producing music for the Avengers, on the video game system. And then other video games, and then now the AWE. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. and it's humbling to see that growth, where God allowed you to see that you have many talents. You were able to tap into your music, the same passion you have, tap into it and use it in a way where you were able to create music that benefits a whole generation of people. With outside the box. Somebody said, Miss Mary said it. Miss Mary Goldsby. She said outside the box thinking. But there's not just only you. There's so many of y'all in here that have done these things. Even myself. I remember when I used to give up. I got to the point where I was done. I was almost done with CHH, because after we had lost the radio station, we was on the gospel station. The station got sold. I started doing podcasts, and I was getting frustrated because I didn't learn how to do it the right way. So at the lowest point in my life, when I was just going back to work, and I was just saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to probably just, maybe just stop DJing, whatever else. Then here comes this new radio station that comes into our in our area. And I remember one of the ministers hit me up, said, hey, well, you should go talk to the station owner. He's having a, see what he says about you adding your show. And I hesitated on it, but I finally met with the guy. Now, this station is not gospel. It's a like a community radio station, but it's like open format type of R&B, soul, and gospel, a little bit of gospel. So I approached him about the radio, my pitch, and he said, hey, send me a demo. I sent him a demo like a week later. He said, I love this. He says, hey, when can you start your radio show, and what day would you like? I said, well, I used to do Fridays at 6 p.m. Friday 6 p.m. All right, you got it. Wow. And this is a man that's not Christian, not saved, but he heard what I was doing. I've been on the station now. We just celebrate 6 years on the station.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We're the only, I'm the only radio show within almost from, I'm in Beaufort. So like most people remember, like they're familiar with Hilton Head Island. So, Beaufort is like a gospel quartet, praise and worship. Most people know Cat and Jones and they know anybody else. So in this region, I'm the only one that's playing Christian hip hop. Then we're also, we're not on a big FM dial, but we're on internet also. So we stream on the internet. So we're covering artists from Charleston, Savannah, Columbia, all these people from all over. We covered all this, representing Christian hip hop. And I'm introducing myself to an audience that is not familiar with Christian rap. They're not familiar with it on a level like we are, like I am. So it is humbling, that I keep going. So every time when I think about throwing the towel, I always think about all these great success stories of brothers and sisters who have been through the marriage, who've been through the muck and the mire. We know about those days where husbands get threatened by their wives about divorce because you ain't bring that bread in. When some of y'all, like I said, when I said earlier, some of y'all paid $350 to go to a show 4 hours away, and then you don't get to perform, and you come back and your wife asks you, well, what did they give you? Oh, did you perform?
Well, it's real.
It's real life.
You know what I'm saying? I got exposure. Exposure ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't gonna pay no bills.
And again, part of that is the structure that we lack in Christian hip hop in this genre. And again, the main thing is handling your business. Okay. Hey, Chris Wright says that some in church have killed many of the artists' careers because they were not ready for a new thing. However, their labor was not in vain because they blazed a trail for future artists and generations to come. All right.
Yeah.
Again, I know the church is more like a chitlin circuit per se, whatever, because it's like, that's for as a Christian hip hop or gospel, that's the stages that, that they want. But again, let's get out of the box, just like my man Omega Sparks is doing. So again, there's a whole world out there that wants your music, but you got to handle your business if you're going to do it. Hey, what's up, DJ Sean Blue, man? Hey, if you want to come on, I'll send you the link. Just let me know. He said beats paid that, man. Hey, hold on, Q. Hey, we're gonna go back to you in a second. Hey, we want to welcome Scooter here on the platform as well, too, man. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, brothers? First and foremost, I'm on this screen, everyone.
Hey, man, you breaking up a little bit.
Oh, let me mute my.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First and foremost, honored to be on with each and every one of you all. First of all, it's an honor to be in this.
Amen.
Now.
Salute.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I kind of come from that same aspect of what was just proposed a little bit ago. I started off doing Christian hip hop, St. Louis, Missouri. So when I was doing it, I think I talk to DJ Jesus Beats all the time. So send him my music, soap bars, and other songs and things of that nature, and it will circulate and things like that. But I'm like, man, it's not popping really. It's not really popping. St. Louis didn't really have that Christian hip hop market per se. And then it hit me one time. It was like, man, I went to an event and it was so many artists, but we didn't have anybody to introduce us. So it's like, man, all these artists on stage, but who's going to step back? Who's going to be the host? Who's going to introduce? Who's going to be the one to, talk about other artists and put a platform together? So I remember Thizzle to this day. Thizzle came up to my job, another St. Louis legend, came to my job one night and was like, man, I love you. I love your music. Your music is cool. It's dope. But I love how you do radio, because I was doing a little bit of, doing radio interviews and things that nature. He was like, man, I love what you're doing with radio. And I did an interview with, I had him on my show. And to this day, if you ask Thizzle his top radio interviews, I'm one of his top radio interviews. And Thizzle has been everywhere. So he told me in that moment, he was like, man, some people are to go out into the world and tour and all that, but you also need people who are going to be local. Mm-hmm. Like, man, your music is cool, but we already got rappers. We don't have a radio presence. We don't have that. Mm-hmm. So that's what launched me into doing radio, and where I felt like I wasn't getting the love in music, I was able to create a platform and get the love in radio, and that catapulted on the first ever FM gospel radio station in St. Louis. Having my own radio show, now creating my own radio online platform, a radio station. And just recently, it's only been 2 years, I was on the second ballot for the nominees on the Stellars to
Amen. Praise God.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen.
Do things like that. It's like, man, sometimes artists, we have to make that hard reaction, decision of, sometimes I might have to see what else I'm good at. And when that flourishes and when that happens, then God will open up doors for other things to happen instead of us just banking on that one thing. So encouragement to all the artists out there. Look, the rap may be dope, it may be cool, but what else can you bring to the table? What else can you offer that may not be offered?
Amen. And
I learned to be a servant first.
Yeah, there you go.
Servant. Radio allowed me to be a servant. And now whenever I do a song or whenever somebody talk about St. Louis, they'll say, hey man, that's Scooter. Oh, you got the show. Hey man, we got you. We'll do this because you did that. So just having a heart to serve is what I would suggest for a lot of
man. Well, that's it, because that's what ministry is all about, serving. Exactly. Hey, Q, go ahead, man.
So if I want to offer words of encouragement. I definitely want to encourage, those that have been doing it long enough. Like I've been doing this close to 30 years. God called me into the ministry at the age of 14, right after when I got saved. I preached my first sermon at the age of 15. I've been through trial and error. Failure is not final. But one thing I could definitely say, when you fail, FAIL, you just simply found an important lesson. So,
That's dope.
thank you. Whenever you fail, don't look at failure as a final, as it's not gonna happen. Many people fail their way into success. I was reading Russell Simmons' book, Do You, the 12 Laws to Success and Happiness. When he started Fat Farm was $46 million in the hole.
Man.
When they first started. Russell Simmons created a plan and everything, and Fat Farm became a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate before he sold it. So and then a lot of times when we work out and when we exercise, for those who are my bodybuilders and everything, we do like 3 sets of 10, and then after that we do sets where it goes to failure. And basically what failure does, it stretches and increases the muscle. And so we go past our burn limit and we go past our limitations when we want to exercise and build up muscle mass. So I said this all to say that, keep going at it. Sometimes you may have to take a back seat and restructure and reposition yourself. Now, I'm a person of many talents besides rap. I'm a preacher. I write songs. I just started podcasting. I started a podcast for men, which is 1 year old. It's called the Uncrowned Kings podcast. And I had other things going on. I, started back DJing, the very thing that I started as a child. Well, a lot of people don't know the real fact of Q to Profit. I started DJing first as a kid. My best friend from childhood, his brother taught me on vinyl. But my mother couldn't afford me turntables and couldn't afford me lessons. So I had no other choice but to pick up a pen and pad and started rhyming. So that became my gift. I picked up the turntables again when I turned 40. And the thing now is that more so now I'm DJing now in more places now. And even now I decided to, open up my catalog now for CHH now. So, I'm curating, stuff, with CHH artists and things like that. But the key thing though is that you just got to keep going at it. Like Scooter said, when you flourish at one area, then you can get back into that. But the whole key thing is basically staying fresh. Don't look at other people's successes. God bless them, bless them, salute them, celebrate them. Because I'm gonna tell you, the fastest way to you receiving your miracle and your breakthrough is when you can celebrate your brother and your sister. And I don't mean it to be cliche. But it's true.
Absolutely.
In the Jewish custom, when you see the blessing upon me, that means you're next in line in the Jewish custom. So,
Amen. Hey, Q, man, great words of wisdom. Omega Sparks, man, go ahead. You was going to say something.
I want to say something about Q the Prophet. So, me and my boy, we got a chance to rock at Rap Fest in 2005, and the first time, hold on one second.
Yeah, again.
The first kids, man. Daddy's in the studio. First time I heard Q the Prophet, I don't know if it was a mixtape or something, but I was riding into the Bronx and I was just, man, who is this guy, man? So I just always wanted to give you your flowers, man. Like I've respected you as an MC for decades now. But yeah, man, like that's my first time hearing about you when I got up to the Bronx at Rap Fest in 2005.
That was the Shallon mixtape.
Yes, that's it.
Request the Wordsmith. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry. So I'm just geeking out a little bit, but there's a lot of truth in it. Honestly, as an MC, for me, the highest honor is to use my pen to honor someone else outside of myself. Amen. And I just carry that same mentality wherever I go. If it's in the video game or wrestling stuff, it's just basically being willing to tell somebody else's story. So there was this. It's called the Inferno Awards. It was a Christian hip hop award show down in Atlanta about 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
I think I remember that.
Yeah, Inferno Awards. I forgot the brothers that was over it. Well, they had asked me to do a song. They was doing a lifetime achievement award to like 4 people. And they wanted me to do like something to honor them. So I wrote a whole song honoring them. Like half of a verse was another person, then I flipped to another person. And so they let me perform this while they were going up getting their awards. So as they were getting their lifetime achievement awards for what they do in ministry and stuff, I was, saying, I was rhyming about them and stuff. And I feel like that was the breaking point for me as far as for finding like, well, God, I want to, what's the next thing for me? It's like, man, that's it. Always give honor. Get out of your own way and son, hold on a second. Sorry. Hey. You
gotta love it.
We gotta love it. Gotta love the kids, man. 6 and 9, I tell you. Get out of your own way and just show love to people, honor people right from their perspective, stop being so opinionated. Stop, just use your penmanship to just honor people. And I took that, God kind of dropped that in me as I did that Inferno Awards flow song, and I carried that into video games and licensing and writing for wrestlers and doing a deep dive, learning their story, and you know what I'm saying. And so, but that's what we do in Christian hip hop. We should be getting out of our way, representing our King, writing from his perspective, and so I just wanted to share that.
Amen. Hey, there's a Christian hip hop legend right there. One half of A1 Swift.
A1 Swift, yes.
Yeah,
I was able to give my sister her flowers when I got saved in '96. I had 3 gospel rap albums. I had A1 Swift. I had Gospel Gangsters second CD on cassette.
Oh yeah.
And I had T-Bone. I had T-Bone's second album, like Demon Hunter, Demon Killer, whichever one. But when I got saved, and I got a chance to see them rock, A1 Swift rock, like a couple years after I got saved. But it's like that's the thing about it is don't give up. For the my brother DJ Jesus Beats said, for the cats that's been doing this for years, don't give up, man. You may have to change some things. If you've been doing it the same way and things aren't working, then you might need to change some things up. And then like my brother Scooter, it's like really always aim to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
That's good.
Always aim to be effective in the culture. And that's kind of my thing about Christian hip hop. It's like I care more about people and the culture than the genre of Christian hip hop.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of times some of my words may be perceived wrong. Like, I don't feel like I have to be CHH to be a Christian ambassador, but
right.
But in the same breath, there's people like DJ Jesus Beats and others that hold the staff for the culture of Christian hip hop, and what they do is so important. And you got people out here like me that's all over the place, and I need my brothers like DJ Jesus Beats to reel me in, you know what I'm saying, if I get but I just want to say that I just love y'all, man. I love God that he is giving us nuggets of wisdom how to do this for the long haul, You're
not saying anything bad. No, I mean, actually, it's like I said, I love it. I just, my heart really just pours out for it. And a lot of times, like I see, I've witnessed so many people who will just throw in the towel. People, and life happens for a lot of people. People go and do other things in life and stuff like that. But for me, I'm riding to this until God Himself tells me that it's time to change up. So until then, it's like I just like my encouragement I can give to any artist and any DJ, any person out there is the most important thing I can tell you is to have fun with what you're doing. Remember that you're doing this for God first.
If you want to come on,
the Father. So you got to just have fun doing what you do for the Father first. And don't worry about all the other stuff that's going on, all the politics and what people are saying and this and that. If you're doing music, if you want to be rap, do rap, but you gotta, just have fun doing it for the Lord, and listen to what you're doing, and you gotta learn. You gotta study the business side of things. Save your money up, please. Yes. I mean, if you put $20 aside, if like for me, I used to know I used to spend $20 going to the gas station all the time. Well, before gas price went high, but but because you're spending on miscellaneous things, right? So I started putting $20 aside, and then before I knew it, I was every paycheck, even more. I would just save a little bit more, and because I knew that I needed new DJ equipment, just like Omega. I think Omega and Q the Prophet, you guys got it back into like DJing, and y'all came into this when you know that these DJ controllers and stuff is very expensive now. Mm-hmm. Like turntables is like one thing, but then when you gotta go get the new equipment to go along with it, make it run, and all these other programs and stuff. Serato's not expensive. It's not cheap either. So you're saving all this money up. So I was putting money aside. I know I need speakers, I need lights, I need bass bottoms, I need all these things. And I would just save my money. And before I knew it, I was able to purchase my new equipment and all these things. And so if you're doing the same thing, you know that you're going to need to record, you know that you need to, you're going to need to pay somebody to mix and master your music. So you just got to make that sacrifice and promote. Now, if you're married, the most important thing is you got to include your spouse into what you're doing. Right. You can't do this solo dolo and be thinking like your wife or your husband just sitting there like, oh, okay, well, he's just doing this rap game or she's doing her rap game and I'm just going to just sit here and just ignore everything. Because you know what's going to happen. I know you ain't trying to play that song.
Hey, Beast. Hey, y'all look. Hey, look. I want to deal with this one last thing or so because I want to be cognitive of everyone's time. All right. Again, we're talking about having a structure in Christian hip hop and urban gospel. Okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with the business. If you want to do the business, then do the business. But let's have some structure to it. So, can we talk about for us with the promotion aspect of it? And one of the structures is we need money in music. All right. Why do we always expect things for free just because we know one another and things like that? So can we talk about that? And we got Alicia on there. We have a young lady on here with us as well with all these brothers.
I ain't scared of y'all brothers now.
Yes. Problem. I don't want any problems.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? All right. Hey, so who wants to take that comment or that question start off again, because we got to be serious about our business, and just because I know you doesn't mean I'm going to do everything free for you as well too. All right.
So with promotion. So I will invest in promoting myself and making sure I have campaign money so my song can get on radio, can get on Spotify playlists and stuff like that. But you are wasting your money as an artist if you do not register your songs correctly on BMI. You need to have 2 or 3 royalty collecting companies finding your music. There's over 15 plus royalties out there, streaming royalties, interactive royalties, non-interactive streaming royalties, mechanical royalties. If your music gets sync to a picture, that's synchronization royalties. There's all these royalties out here. So if one of the steps in you putting your music out isn't registering it correctly, for me it's BMI, Song Trust, DistroKid, and TuneCore Publishing. Those are 4 different royalty collection companies. Sometimes they overlap, but as long as I have at least one person collecting all the different royalties that my music creates, great. Now, when I sow into my promotion, getting promotion and stuff, like DJ Ronnie Ron's business and everything like that, I know that I'm investing in myself and I'm going to get a return back on my royalties, and so that's what I'll say, that, if you're going to promote yourself and put money to that, to having a campaign, you go the whole mile and get your songs registered correctly, or you're losing out. You're losing money, basically. You know what I'm saying? Numbers are fun. Let's say you have a great campaign and you got X amount of Christian hip hop DJs playing your music, and you're getting great Spotify numbers. If you don't have your royalties set up, that money isn't even going to you. It's going to whatever society in that country. And then if you don't collect your royalties retroactively after 6 months, lost all your money and lost all your hard work. So numbers are pretty, numbers are great. It's great when you see 1 million views on something on YouTube or something like that, or Spotify. But after a while, you're gonna get tired of looking at that number, and that's what I'll say to that.
All right. Hey, well said. Well said. Hey, who's next? Who wants to go ahead and take this?
I think since I'm on here, with marketing your songs or even yourself as an artist, it's important to have a streamlined focus. So if you have, 5 Facebook pages and 3 Instagram pages and 6 YouTube pages, and you get where I'm going. You want to ensure that before you start dumping money into your marketing, is that you are directing your traffic into one central location, one Facebook page, one Instagram page, one YouTube account, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever the case may be, because you don't want to spend money promoting your songs, but your songs are all over the place. You've got songs on these 5 pages. So you want to make sure that when you reach your audience, it's easy for them to find you. It's easy for them to download your music. It's easy for them to engage with you on social media pages. You want to make it as easy for your audience as possible. So you definitely only want to make sure that you clean up everything that you may have created, in the past. You also want to ensure that before you begin your marketing spend, have a plan, write it down. What's your strategy? Be as detailed as you possibly can, and then follow through. Remembering that everything is content. So even if you don't have a huge marketing budget, social media is 24/7. It's always free. So you can always record yourself. You can always go live, jump on your phone and spit some bars, or invite some people on with you. Just have fun. Remember to always include the social part in your social media marketing mix. It's extremely important to be social, and engage with everybody, even if they say something negative, because every post, every share, every like, everything helps grow your page. So engage, and as many people as you want to like your stuff and comment on your stuff, do the same thing in return for other folks, because that's the number one way to start building your platforms out, is to engage with other artists or anybody who shows interest in your pages.
Okay. All right. Again, we got questions. So y'all establishing a hierarchy CHH network, or is this panel a guide to artists to how to market their music and better? Well, we kind of basically just giving some structure, because that's what pretty much the whole thing is about, the structure in Christian hip hop and urban gospel, which is lacking. And we have, people doing bad business within Christian hip hop and gospel period as well. And so, we have to start doing things with integrity out there. Okay, if we're going to, continue on with this, as far as forming a hierarchy or forming a machine like how mainstream does, well, it's pretty much wide open from the way I see it. Hey, Mr. C, did you want to?
Yes, I was going to say that. Based on some of the challenging things I mentioned earlier, like way earlier before a lot of y'all came on. I will say that there are things improving. Now, for example, there are internet stations that are now reporting. So many of y'all, I know Omega Sparks said it, Scooter said it. And by the way, Scooter, man, props to you. This is a nice meeting you on this live and interact. I think I've seen you on Facebook and stuff like that before. So nice meeting you, by the way. So basically, artists, and now, like I said, it's a two-sided thing. Artists need to stop being cheap, because now it is it is within reach to be able to put money in the hand of a BDS reporting station and you begin to chart. There's actually a Christian hip hop BDS chart. Serious People Music, Serious Voice went as high as number 5 earlier this year on that chart. And then there's other charts where if you build relationships with these communities, you'll also chart on those platforms, and you can actually use those results to then, like my sister was saying, you can use that to then go back to social media and say, hey, I charted on this platform, I charted on that platform, and you never know if somebody taps into your music, start inviting you to a festival, start doing this. And next thing you know, your opportunities start to increase. Mm-hmm. So it's up to the independent artists to stop being so cheap where they, I know DJ Ronnie Ron stressed it all the time. Stop thinking you can get everything for free, but you want to be on award platforms. You want to be on the biggest stations. Right. It's not going to work. It is not.
Yeah. I also want to add on to what C and what the young sister said. I'm gonna add on what the young sister said. Find your marketing niche. Also, one of the things that I like what Kanye did at that time, at the height of good music, they used to always take advantage of Friday, and they would have this thing called Good Friday. So they'll have like an exclusive song coming from one of the artists that signed to good music, So, that something as simple as that, is good for increasing your fan base and your following and building somewhat of a camaraderie, with your fans and everything like that. So that's one thing that you can do. Also, on the terms of don't being cheap, to all my artists that are listening, and I'm gonna tell y'all this: learn the difference between mixing and mastering. Get you a good engineer that can mix down your music to a crisp, because all mixing is simply doing is leveling the vocals, leveling the beat, leveling the ad libs and everything. That's leveling. Mastering pretty much is just filtering. It just basically filters and brings up everything that are in the mixes. So let's not cut corners, because professional radio stations are not going to play your music if the music is not mastered, because a good mastering studio also encodes the music, because once the music is encoded, that's when the publishing companies like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC can all track the music. So don't cut corners. Get a good professional engineer that knows how to mix. Pay that man whatever the mastering studio is charging to master your album. Pay them to do that. Also, when you start reaping your royalties, there's a thing that we learned in the drug game. Before I got saved, we learned in the drug game. After you made the profit and you sold all your packs and moved the product, flip that money back, spend it on the same thing, re-up and relaunch. Don't blow your money on Jordans, don't blow your money on jewelry and all that. All that's gonna come in due time. But in the meantime or so, learn how to flip the money and invest in what works and what's most important.
Amen. Awesome. Yeah, Beats, go ahead, man.
Yeah, man, everybody dropping jewels. So I'm just like, the only thing I'll tell artists, what I said before, also the social media side is the most, take it to your advantage, use it to your advantage. So, because if a lot of artists who came out back almost 20, 30 years ago could use the social media that we have, that you guys have today, man, you know how many artists would be, like, take advantage of this. But if anything, I encourage artists to do locally also. That's where I stress the most. Working, building relationships locally in your area. Get the microphone out and be like Eddie Kane Jr. Not like this.
Raindrops would fall.
Not like this. Not like this.
Right.
But all jokes aside, but it's working with local organizations, and you have the Y, you have the Boys and Girls Club, you have all these different organizations that may be in your own region. Like I said, building relationships with the church, I understand, like, you know, everybody use the excuse like, oh, the church doesn't care. They don't know. It's just like, until you just, you know, don't come out with the, what can you do for me? What can I do for you first? And then you can build that relationship.
Correct.
And you'll start seeing how doors will open up, because they don't know exactly what's going on. They don't know that you even do rap. They're like, oh, wow, okay, let's check this out. Or you sing, or you dance, or you do whatever. So those are some most important things. And then, of course, like with radio.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can speak on radio because I do know I run an internet radio station, but I also affiliate with your terrestrial side of things. Radio is in the terrestrial side is politics. Okay, so it's not based upon how popular you are; it's based upon how much money they can make from you on radio.
Yes.
And a lot of artists don't do research. So if you want to do some research with promoting yourself, take a listen to the radio station for an hour. All right, just because they're gospel doesn't mean gospel gonna play gospel rap. They're not gonna play that.
Come
Right?
on.
They're gonna,
Right.
all right. They're not gonna play that on there. They are marketing to an audience. Black gospel radio stations market to women, black women, and the women are between the ages of 20 all the way up to 99. Because why? Because the women are listening to it throughout the whole day. The women are the ones that. So, and it's like hip hop and R&B stations. You want to get your music on there, you got to find somebody who's a radio personality or a DJ that's spinning music on there to get that music on there.
There you
Because,
go.
like, again, radio is about making, if it's a commercialized radio station, commercial means that they play commercials. You ever listen to a radio station, you hear almost 10 minutes of commercials, and you're like, well, you got your darn mind? Because you're like, okay, man, when you gonna play the next music? Or you hear redundancy. There's a reason why they do that, because they're making money off of this stuff. They play the top charting artist, the chart topping artists, and they also have advertisers. The biggest advertisers are car dealerships. The car dealerships are going to be dropping almost $4,000 a month to have their ads run. You know, if you ever hear that commercial, one of the best commercials out there, 411 Pain. All right, 411 Pain has every genre version for their commercials. I just heard a quartet version today.
Mm-hmm.
So they market on gospel stage, but it's all these things just play a part. But for you as an artist, it's about building that relationship locally. Start small, go out to the Walmarts, you know, introduce your music out there to the people. Let them know what you got going on, you know, just.
And again, this is part of the structure that we need in Christian hip hop, urban gospel. All right, handle your business. Stop looking for things for free, and don't take advantage of relationships because you know people. All right. Again, go ahead.
I want to ask you. This is a silly question,
Mm-hmm.
but I like silly questions.
Sure.
So okay, let's talk structure a little bit. Let's talk the X's and O's. Okay.
Let's go.
So, from a ministry standpoint, why can't Christian hip hop deconstruct its structures that is formed over the decades? And basically, how realistic, or if it's realistic at all, could we take the top 50 hip hop ministries around the country and kind of do like the first generation apostles did, where there was no such thing as tithing and giving? Basically, everyone put everything they had in one pot, so no one lacked. If we did something like that from a music and, you know, radio perspective, where there was basically, you know, you had some apostle type figures, you know, some DJ Jesus beats and people that control the flow of radio airwaves. Mm-hmm. And then you had, you know, 50 or 100 of the top Christian hip hop artists, and it's not a record label. It's just kind of like how the apostles did. And everybody just put everything in a lump sum, like
a system.
Like a system. Like we created like a system that went beyond the music industry or beyond an individual thing. Because what we're saying, we're giving a lot of nuggets to a lot of Christian hip hop cats out there. But I get the last question, the point of the last question that the person asked. If structure, could we deconstruct any type of business, even if it's good business that we've that we've picked up over the years and really make this like a crazy little countrywide ministry where no one needed or it was nothing. Everybody's families, you know, had enough to survive and still do music. Every radio host and DJ had enough to continue to travel and do their thing. No one lacked, but at the same time, no one excelled higher than the other person.
To answer that, you know, it has to be the oneness of mind. When you look at the Tower of Babel, they came on one accord, and they basically built the tower. They built the tower all the way, almost really nearly reaching the heavens.
Yeah.
And you know, so it has to be people coming on one mind, you know, and being on one accord and being intentional and doing it. Like, you know, going back to the days of Acts when the first church, you know, was founded after Pentecost, when the people had sold their houses and their possessions, and then they brought a portion back and laid it at the apostles' feet.
Yeah.
Now, in scriptural history, you know, the people still had, you know, supply left and remain for their families. There was no lack. And then they brought it to the church. And that's the way the church is supposed to be. The church is supposed to help the community. You know, when they say, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat or provision within my house. It's so that this way the church is able to provide for the community, provide for families, provide for the widows and everything. So now for Christian hip hop, it's going to have to take like-minded artists, like-minded moguls, like-minded people to come and forge as one.
Exactly.
But the problem is that there's a lot of egos.
Yes,
you know,
that's our issue.
There's a lot of people with agendas. That, you know, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing it this way. I'm doing it as the Lord is showing me. But you know, if we got on one accord, because we got to understand the ultimate goal in this mission. The ultimate goal is not to reap platinum plaques, have stellar awards on ourselves.
Come on, bro.
All those things are nice and cool, but the ultimate purpose is to lead people back to Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the ultimate purpose. But
ministry. Hey, real quick. Dominique says that there isn't a demand for it. I guess to your question, Omega Sparks. But go ahead.
So what I think, to piggyback off that, I do believe that there has to be a one accord, and that's what's lacking. Unfortunately, look at secular music. One of the main goals is whoever's hot, we're gonna ride their wave, and we're gonna make money off of their wave. That's why you see a Billy Ray Cyrus with a Lil Nas X, a country or rap, and you can see R&B and pop and everybody go together. But unfortunately, sometimes with Christian hip hop, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it.
Sometimes. Wait a minute. If you're gonna say it for real.
Say it.
Sometimes.
Hey, go ahead and let them say it.
Say it with your chest.
Christian hip hop, you do see, and it's kind of weird because if it's all supposed to point back to Jesus, you have people who kind of feel like the I'm Baptist, this is Pentecostal, this is this, and so many of the denominational kind of rap that just puts everybody out off of what they're supposed to be doing, which is the main goal and the main topic of Jesus. So in order to do something like that, there definitely has to be a one accord to know that it's just like your cup. Your cup don't run over for you. It run over for everybody. Everybody can reach. Everybody can be able to see the goodness of God and how He has blessed you, and be, oh my God, that happened to you. I know God will do this for me, and to be able to bless and help and help and help. But I think a lot of people want to receive instead of, you know what, I can help you do this. I can help you do this. Not expecting anything in return, but just knowing that you're a little stronger in that area. So I'm going to help push my brother because I know lives will be changed by what he or my sister, what she is saying. And what
That's good, Scooter.
But I really am just an advocate for just not limiting yourself as an artist by giving yourself a title as Christian. I think the lyrics themselves will automatically explain who you represent.
Yes.
I just feel like that we go in with limitations by labeling ourselves as Christian rappers or Christian hip hop. We are hip hop artists. I'm a hip hop artist, and my topic just happens to be salvation, or how God brought me through some moment in time, or how I got saved, or whatever the case may be. We do that to ourselves. So I would, if I were doing this, again, 25 years ago, I would focus less on trying to fit in to the Christian hip hop genre and identity, and just be who God called me to be, and use that gift to uplift the kingdom and win souls. And everything else happens because if God is for you, nobody can be against you. Amen. So as long as you focus on the calling and the goal and the ministry, all of the other pieces fall into place. That's just been my experience. Now, granted, we didn't have social media and all of the wonderful platforms that artists have today. I signed to a label, so I did things the traditional way. But, if I could put all of this social media and all that back then, as somebody else was saying, and be the outgoing person that I am now, I wouldn't wait on anybody. As long as I have a phone or an iPad, I can do everything. Market, I can perform, I can minister.
We have a lot more resources available to us now compared to back then. And so, yes, it should not be an issue for anybody to start pushing their music out there or wait for anyone to come, to do what they need to do. Just go, how bad do you really want to do it? And that's where, again, that structure, whether it's Christian hip hop, holy hip hop, whatever you do, just make it happen. And hey, go ahead, Mr. C.
I don't want this to come off combative, because I hear this all the time, and I've spoken to Ronnie about this on the in private conversations.
Yeah.
The rhetorical question I always have is when people say, we're boxed in when we say Christian rap. How can we say we're boxed in when we serve an unlimited God?
Facts. Facts.
So I, in my spirit, man, I never agree with that statement of you're boxing me in because I'm Christian rap. And furthermore, I have a testimony from that. Recently, I was at a wedding in Buffalo, New York, and there was a guy who was new on the scene. He said, when he was in secular, his mind was like all over the place. It was like racing and all this stuff. But when he got saved and he came over to the Christian hip hop side, I'm like, this is the first time I heard the reverse. You're hearing people leaving Christian hip hop and going to secular. I never heard somebody excited that got saved and came over. He was like, man, ever since I became a Christian hip hop artist, he said, my writing don't stop. My creativity is limitless. Everything so that just proves my point. Like, we do not serve a limited God. So right. I don't have a problem with the Christian hip hop space.
Can I say something to that? I totally agree. I guess what my sister may have been saying is like, they called us Christians.
Thank you.
We were followers of the way.
Thank you.
The first generation apostles, they went out and impacted culture without a title.
A title, yes. Thank you. That's what I mean.
They did it. They did it without a title. As in 2022, can we advance the kingdom of God through our music without taking the genre and title of Christian hip hop with us?
You.
Or is it a necessity and we must bring the culture with us? That's I think.
Yeah. Question on that.
Go ahead, real quick. Go ahead.
Really quick. So when you're submit, if you are a Christian hip hop artist and you're submitting music, what are you submitting your music under? What genre or music under?
That's the confusion. Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, do you have to? Well, it's all about what your purpose is. I have a heart to reach women that's been abused. Okay. All right. Then I need to create songs and make sure my music is being played in a place where women that's been abused can hear my music.
It. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, of course, the end goal is to lead people to salvation.
Mhm.
But then, as ministers, we're to minister is to serve. That people have different ministries. People have different callings. People want to reach different demographics of people. It ain't just, well, I'm Christian and I just want to. I want to reach. I want every Christian to hear my music, and I want every person that's not saved to hear my music. Yeah, but it's okay to be like, no, God has given me a ministry to speak to this group of people, and he who wins souls is wise.
It's wise.
Yes.
God didn't think too much of himself to come in flesh and to die for our sins. We shouldn't think so high-minded of ourselves that we're not willing to get down and dirty to reach who we feel we're called to reach.
Amen.
That's
Thank
the
you.
end goal. I mean, that's my
No,
little 2 cents.
No, you said that right exactly how I meant to say it. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
I love this meaning on the music side. Since we're speaking music, like I mean, let's just be honest. You gotta submit a genre. Whether you're hip hop, whether you're Christian,
Right.
gospel, whether you're R&B, whether you're gospel. Like, what do you submit your music under? If that, you know what I'm saying?
Hip hop.
Like, that's the part I'm.
Hip hop.
Hip hop.
If I
Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, go
if I
ahead.
can chime in real quick, like no, I get what I get what y'all saying. So, and I have no issue with it because, like, for me, I'm a believer, but I know for me, my DJ name alone speaks already as a conversation starter because they're like, who the heck did you beat Jesus? Where you beat him at? But but when people ask me what did I do, I don't say I'm a DJ. I say I'm a Christian DJ, and it's not. That's my own personal conviction. It's not limited to nobody else. But I do that because it's a conversation starter for me. Because I'm able to have a conversation and people are like, wow, I never knew about that. And what do you do? And then I introduce them to Christian hip hop music. The music speaks for itself. Now, as far as the title Christian hip hop, because I also index music. I'm part of a record pool. And so a lot of things we do, I index a lot of music. I'm like a historian of music right now. So I have to categorize music based upon what this actual title needs to be. So everybody's music, if you rap for the Lord, you're gonna be called a Christian hip hop as the genre, as a subgenre.
Unless no one's ever heard of you. And
Even
they've
if
never
nobody's
heard
heard
your
of-
music. And I just submit my music as hip hop.
Yeah. Now, see, that's what a lot of artists make the mistake. They submit your music as hip hop, but guess what? You know how many on Friday? You know how many artists submit their music as hip hop, and how we can't find none of y'all music on a Friday when the music's in release? It took me almost 5 hours to find 50 artists who are gospel rappers or believers in the faith who identify their songs as hip hop, because it's like an ocean. It's like Christian hip hop is like a little drop in the bucket, like you get from a pond, and you dump that water into the ocean. So now the hip hop is the main genre. There are millions of artists who drop music on a Friday, on new release Friday. And guess what? Now we have to filter, because even when I'm going through, like, good thing about Spotify, because the algorithms, it'll refer to me to those people. But when I'm going to other sites, and, like, let's say if I'm doing iTunes, because I want to purchase their music. If I'm trying to find you on Apple Music, it doesn't have a good algorithm. So if I'm not using Spotify, it's a hard process unless I'm following you on a social media platform.
That's good.
So it's a lot of artists in Christian hip hop who want to label themselves hip hop, but you're not realizing that you're setting yourself up for a little bit of failure, because now you're competing with the major hip hop. And guess what? Guess who goes up to the top? All the mainstream ones first. Then it's the sub-mainstream ones. Then it's the B-side. By the time you even get down to even finding some of y'all, unless you're promoting yourself, which comes back to marketing, that's where it is. But for me, I understand where artists, why you label yourself as a hip hop. It's just for indexing purposes, for radio. For a lot of people don't understand it. Y'all don't understand. With radio, we have to categorize it in a specific category to make sure that we know exactly how we index in our music, so that we can go to that music. Because if I just label it hip hop, then all of a sudden Chris Brown comes into the picture. Then if it's hip hop, then it's Beyonce, or not Beyonce, but like whoever, whoever that it could be Wiz Khalifa. or it could be this person. So it doesn't filter that way. So if I label it Christian hip hop, now I'm able to search for the music much faster. And that's all it is for indexing. It's not to say that you got to claim yourself to be a Christian rapper. It's just that for indexing purposes for us DJs, it makes it much more easier to find the music because a lot of there's so much music out there, and you're competing against a whole plethora of people from all different walks of hip hop. And then, like you said, like I think Omega Sparks mentioned about like your song talked about something for women and stuff. That's where us DJs come into play. Because what I'm doing with just like working with other DJs now is when I'm categorizing a lot of music, I'm also tagging based upon your theme. So if your music is like talking about in regards to abuse, all right, I'm gonna tag it as abuse. So when DJs get that song, now that theme is right there in their song files in their metadata. So when they pull it up, they know exactly if they got a radio show, if they got a podcast, and they want to go right to that song and say, okay, I need all the songs that refer to women abuse or abortion or Mother's Day, Father's Day, happy birthday, So those are the things that why we index music like that. It's not to take away from the craft or creativity of what you do as an artist. It's just for indexing purposes, so we can be able to get the music out the right way. So we don't just throw a song at somebody and they're not going to play it. I want to get it to the hands of the DJ or the radio personality or somebody who's going to play your song because it fits their mold, it fits their demographic, it fits their setting.
Hey, real quick, I want to bring up DJ Shane. So, man, hey, man, how's everything going, sir?
Everything's going well. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
hey.
I came in from cutting the grass and DJ Ronnie Ron sent me the invite. I'm like, man, I got to get you changed, put the hat on real quick. Now, first off, I want to show some respect to everybody in the room because I know I put the comment in here. This is a meeting of OGs, and I mean that like I feel like I'm coming in like I want to give that respect off the front. So,
man, brother.
But yeah, man, I like this is a good convo. It's a needed convo, and I like as far as like input that I can give. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been said already in terms of identity, right? Identity of the artist, identity of what the artist is trying to do, what the artist, sorry, I'm losing my words here. But I mean, transitioning to DJ Jesus Beats points of like making sure that stuff is tagged correctly. And I don't think that necessarily like changes anything as far as the identity of the artist goes. That's more of like a technical thing. I mean, because with what Alicia and Omega Sparks were talking about in terms of like as an artist, I'm a hip hop artist. So like when I go in and I tag my tracks, right? I have like a general way that I categorize my genre. So it's going to be hip hop, R&B, pop, country, which we're gonna leave that one alone. But but as far as subtags go, you get into things like conscious and
conscious hip-hop
and stuff like that, right? So I always make sure that included with artists who are professing Christians or who are Christian hip hop, quote unquote, that I always include that CHH identifier in my list, so that when I'm putting a playlist together or something like that for an event, be it an outreach, be it a church event or something along those lines, I have that music available to me. But again, that doesn't negate the identity piece of it in terms of an artist specifically. So if you're a hip hop artist who's a believer, who loves Jesus, I totally agree that you don't necessarily have to, from a from the perspective of identity to call yourself a quote unquote Christian hip hop artist. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, that's going to come out.
Right.
Exactly.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So that's going to overflow into whatever you write, whether it's a song about cats, potatoes, hot dogs, or you're talking about real world issues like what DJ Jesus Beast was talking about in terms of abuse or things like that. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So if I'm full of Jesus, that's going to come out.
That's right.
So I went to Bible college, so I'm sorry if I'm preaching just a little bit.
No, preach.
Nah, it's all right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But well, okay. Y'all ain't hearing me tonight. All right, so we're gonna talk on this. But as far as like the technical aspect of things, right? When you're, as far as the marketing stuff goes, as far as tagging your tracks correctly, one thing, this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, and it may have already been mentioned before I got on here. Artists, tag your tracks correctly, tag them fully. Don't just put a file name on there and the ID3 tags are blank, because that means I have to email you back. I have to get the name of the song, the name of the album if it's a part of one. I have to get, and for me, I'm OCD. So I got here, I got commerce, I got all of that, right? Like I'm just like that's how I work. But yeah, so like I'm gonna step back and let the conversation flow. But but yeah,
you definitely added to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I just want to say real quick that even in current industries, processing, when you're submitting to BDS in particular for the sake of charting, like I know we're having this conversation, everybody has difference in opinions or variations of opinion, but I can say this for sure. When you try to just do hip hop, and we try this at SPM, I'm just gonna throw it as a hip hop track. BDS is gonna process it. They probably I don't know if they have a systemic listener. It's come back a couple of times with certain songs, inspirational. What I'm trying to say is they don't let you. If you're like DJ Shane just said, out of the heart, the abundance speaks, right? But it's not that simple with the industry's processing. Once you submit it, they decide how it's categorized. Not you, not me, not Ronnie, nobody. BDS in particular decides where your how your music is categorized.
Kirk Franklin Radio.
There you go.
Just telling you.
I'm just gonna say like this, like with MC Live saying that, like I get what everybody's saying. I'm not even knocking anything what anybody said, because I think actually, like I said, I don't like going around saying I'm Christian, but that's just like my thing is like I know everybody by their fruit. The thing about it is, it's like I had to learn from the street mentality. I'm not from the streets. I'm from the suburbs, but I learned from the street mentality that real recognizes real. Yeah. See, a lot of times we think the world is dumb, like they don't know who we are. Them jokers will weed you out before you even say one word, and they're like, "Hey, but your music don't fit." But I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like the world sees us for who we are. Right. So a lot of times they're going to categorize you. That's why Lecrae only won he won the Grammy in the gospel and in the gospel got rid of him. They said, "Nah, we're gonna put you over in the CCM, the Christian market." Right. And he won a Grammy in that side, but they were but he tried, submit for hip hop. The hip hop community, the Jewish people, and all this said, no, you're not going over here. We're gonna put you right back in Christian. Because that's where because they know exactly what you do. Like once you introduce yourself in your music, it's your music that speaks for it. So they're already going to categorize it. But like I said, it's technical. It's just a technical thing. Yeah. It's not, I don't really get into like anybody saying that if you don't, if you want to be hip hop, that's cool. There ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm all right down with it. I'm I call myself a semi-Baptist Jehovian. No, it's
But hey, go ahead, Mr. C, real quick.
No, I was just going to piggyback because a few years ago, several years ago, when Lecrae was basically saying, "Nah, son, I ain't CHH. You know, I'm just a rapper that happens to be Christian, right?" No, seriously, this is what happened. They had a big concert at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I didn't go to it, but I saw the social media stuff, right? So the DJs was actually laughing because on the big and Q the Prop is laughing because he knows where I'm going with this. So he's basically saying, "Nah, I'm just a hip hop artist." So at Barclays Center, they had it on a big on the big thing, Christian hip hop artist Lecrae. This is what the secular hip hop scene did to him. They didn't let him just say, "Yo, you just a hip hop artist." They wasn't trying to hear it. They basically put him in the box.
Yeah, they
He tried to get out the box.
No, can I say something? I am too old. Christian hip hop or CHH is a new term. I go back when it was gospel rap,
or
holy hip hop,
or
holy hip hop.
Yes.
Okay,
Christian rap,
Christian rap, gospel rap, all that. Yeah.
My question is, is it a mandate, in y'all opinions, for artists to carry the genre? Not. It's kind of weird. Like, I understand both perspectives, but like when I say I don't necessarily have to be a CHH, artist to be effective in ministry. That's not me taking off my Christendom. That's
right.
I'm not. I don't feel like I have to be loyal to a genre that's man-made. God didn't create CHH. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Son? So do I have to carry the genre with me or not?
No.
Hey, Scooter next. Go ahead, Scooter. Go ahead. And then Q.
I think one of the biggest misunderstandings is that artists don't technically call themselves, as far as I know, Christian hip hop artists. I think they're perceived as that, and then they get upset that they are perceived as that. I don't know any Christian hip hop artists that just say, "Hey, yo, I'm like." I don't know anybody that just states their title. They just rap. They just rap. I mean,
right.
Put them in that box. That's what that's just people's perception, and it just shows you that you may care too much about what people say. I don't care what people say. I mean, if you don't like the music or not,
right.
So I think that Christian hip, just my belief. I don't believe that Christian hip hop is something that artists call themselves. I think it's the outside labeling it, and artists are just getting upset at that when it is what it is, bro. You're a Christian.
It's like I never
Hey,
really
hold on, Q. Go ahead, Q.
Jesus said this best: "By their fruits you shall know them."
Right.
So, like, I remember the big misconception with this when Lecrae, and I mean, it got to the point where I remember people were hashtagging 116. Unashamed. Everybody was hashtagging that on social media. Then Andy Mineo gets on Good Day New York on Fox 5 years ago, and there's like, "So what is 116?" That's my team.
He dropped the ball.
And he dropped the bomb right on there. But here's the humbling fact. Lecrae did it basically for political reasons, because one, he had records with Ty Dolla $ign. He had records with this person and that person. But the thing about it, though, was that you already won 2 Grammys, as a Christian hip hop artist. The first Christian, you're the first Christian hip hop artist in history to win 2 Grammys. And then you're going to want to fumble that whole thing by saying, "Yo, I'm no longer CHH." So when they took him out of the genres of CHH and whatnot, he was floundering on the charts. And then at the same time, that big embarrassment happened to him at the Barclays Center. And it was a humbling factor, for him then. But now let's fast forward to 2019. Kanye West, Sunday Service Choir, Jesus is King, on the platform with Joel Osteen. So Kanye, are you a Christian rap artist now? Kanye, I'm Christian anything.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, Christian rappers now is taking on the whole Christian hip hop title,
Because it's been validated by someone of popularity.
Validated by somebody who's barely even saved. But you know, but you know the sad part. No. But you know, I pray for Kanye. You know, but you know, and in all honesty though, your fruits is gonna tell who you are. Like no matter how you try to deny it and everything. Like even Peter tried to deny Christ. You know, he denied him 3 times. But even when people were like, "You sound just like him,"
Amen.
People are gonna tell.
That's a good example.
Is gonna recognize itself. So like this, it's a whole big misleading thing. And I'm like this. At the end of the day, I just want to hear God say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant."
That's it.
That's the goal.
And see, that's the whole point with this conversation is, okay, if they're going to give us that title, let's come together. Let's create our own structure and show them how it's done. We're just as anointed and gifted as mainstream. So again, let's create our own structure. All right, our own machines instead of us trying to get on their platforms just to get recognition or validation. And that's been my main issue.
I don't want the name and the semantics to be a point of contention.
That's what I was going to say.
This is a great conversation. I don't want it to derail into this, but I'm saying I guess this is some of my frustration as an artist. Is why is it not Christian doctors? Why is it not Christian?
Right.
Why is it not Christian? Why are you holding music? Why are you holding music artists
hostage
to a standard that no other Christian professional has to do?
Hey, Scooter, go ahead and answer that next.
There is not, and it's mostly in the Black community.
It is
because my Caucasian. Let's check this out.
Hey, Shay can talk on that.
Hold up, my Caucasian brothers, they will let their favorite Christian band put on an hour set. They only said Jesus may be in one song, and they still get the respect of being a Christian, even though they're not. You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like it's more of a Black thing. But why do we hold Christian rap artists to a level that no one else has to? We don't force our local doctors to be like, "Yo, why ain't you a Christian?"
Hey, go ahead and let Scooter answer that real quick.
Before you answer, Scooter, I was gonna say we can't even agree on whether or not we should be Christian hip hop artists or not, let alone coming together to form one community to support each other. Like we get so hung up on that. But go ahead, Scooter. I'm sorry.
And I want to try. I'm the type of person that will try to make an answer and try to see both sides. So to try to answer that. Yeah. When you think about music, not take gospel out. In general, when you think of music, there are always and have always been, since music came out, subgenres.
Mm-hmm.
There's no subgenre of basketball. You're just a basketball player. You're just Steph Curry is not a Christian. He's not labeled a Christian basketball player. Basketball player. But when you think of music, you have to, going back, and maybe I'm coming from the radio side like DJ G, you have to categorize it correctly for it to excel properly. So maybe that is why it's so stressful. Christian / gospel / worship / inspiration / because if you look at like a Hill song, that's like Christian. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a Maverick City, now that's gospel, but it's the same thing essentially. But because of how music is subcategorized, there's hip hop, but then you have gangster rap.
Right.
It falls under hip hop, but there's gangster rap. Then you have conscious, then you have
Dirty South and all that,
rap and things
crunk music,
trap. You got
up on the
drill
of just the whole, type of music.
But that's more so how the song sounds, not always the content. Because you can have one artist and then they can do a drum and bass. They can do different songs that fit into different categories of subgenres of hip hop. But you're saying to the Christian artist, you must, no matter what song you put out, son, I don't care if it's slow, fast, got high energy or not, you're gonna tag everything Christian. That's what you're saying to music artists. Like, yo, son, I might want to make a dirty South joint. You just gonna just call it Christian? Yeah. It's a dirty South.
It's just a technical. It's just a technical side of it, and it's like when I'm sitting down with iHeartRadio and with Urban One, and I'm sitting down having meetings with Cumulus, and these are the people that's telling you how. Like, they're telling me this is how they measure music. This is how y'all as artists, you don't see that, but as on the radio side and how they do the BDS, that's exactly how they measure the music. They create subcategories for every song. When you got like praise and gospel, we know gospel is for black music, black gospel people music, right? But then there's praise and worship. There's quartet. There's quartet. Well, I mean, like they have different style, but they got quartet. They have gospel. Then they have praise and worship. Then they have gospel choir. Then they have all these different sub styles that they label the music as. Now, collectively, as far as the BDS charts, they'll put it as just gospel and market it that way. And I know like Maverick City Music was Christian contemporary because they came out of Charleston. And when Chandler Moore had nothing but it was like a Christian contemporary sound until they started adding Kirk and everybody else into it. Now it's changed over to gospel because some of the members left the group. So now it's gospel. They categorize Maverick City Music as gospel now because Kirk Franklin is intertwined into it. So it's like, but it's weird. Like I had to learn all this stuff. I was like sitting down there and I asking them, well, what about this genre? We call it Christian hip hop. They said, well, now we're starting to see on the BDS charts. So the next thing is, how can we market this music? But you guys need structure, and what we're looking for is how to make money off of it. They want to make money off of this stuff because like I said, that's how the industry looks at things. They're looking at how they can make some money off of the stuff.
Just
now, for me personally, I know every artist on here is just hip hop. Okay, I know because it's hip hop is just hip hop.
Right,
we know. And I know y'all buy the fruits. Like if anybody were to go up there, if Alicia right now were to do a new song right now, I know who she is. I know what she represents. I know what she stands for. And even the unbelievers will know because once they hear her music, they're gonna know like, oh wow, okay, this is nice. But of course, in the industry side, the first thing they're gonna label it as is inspirational. And they'll probably send it over to Radio 1 to be played on Radio 1 instantly. They won't even send it to the hip hop station unless you got a DJ that's in that hip hop station that has some clout that says, okay, I can play it. I'm a program director and I'll add it to the station. Because if not, they'll be like, But that's just radio side. But I'm just talking radio. But I mean, it's more than that. But I don't want to.
I don't want to again. I want to take the conversation, down the rabbit hole and thing because again, the whole purpose is again the structure.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's all good. I mean, because it kind of intertwines, and that's why that's one of our issues that we don't recognize our identity and things. Yeah. And so again, we have to create this structure to where we are doing good business amongst one another, so that yes, you can make money with your music. And we're having too many issues within the gospel, Christian hip hop, whatever you want to call it, for us folks doing bad business. Okay. And it's like, again, we need people of integrity and those who have that business mindset to, hey, look, let's come together and create a system, as Omega Sparks was saying. And then Mary, she definitely made a great point. Her challenge is let's take this group and build a new look for this genre. So again, whether this group or whoever, we need some structured leadership. We need a system, and we have to be intentional if we truly want change. All right, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. How bad do we want it?
I'll say this real quick. Now I know we're having a conversation about Christian hip hop, or as far as labels or not. When I'm at my family barbecues or birthday parties, and I'm playing classic hip hop and R&B, let's be honest. Everybody on here that's, if you will, Christian DJs, at some point still gonna play some tasteful, secular music, right?
You make me happy.
That's that vintage New York club song right there.
So yeah,
that's a staple right there. Yeah,
that's secular music.
I know, right? Which is another thing. We can't have really great Christian events without adding secular music to it. But yeah, that's another talk show.
Right. Well, I will throw a Christian hip hop song in the middle of a quote unquote secular playlist.
Me too.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna say, yo, this is a Christian hip hop joint. I don't do that.
Right.
Right.
me either.
So from that standpoint, y'all are right. You know what I'm saying? You just let the audience hear what it is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my cousin, we have a DJ crew, and then he'll come up to me like, yo, what's that? And then you throwing in that good music that is Christian hip hop, that is rhythm and praise, whatever it is, it still starts a conversation.
Right.
So even if they don't accept Christ person in that moment, it still puts them on notice like, hey, that's gospel music.
They start Shazamming. They start Shazamming the song real quick.
Or at a barbecue.
You want to know something was crazy? See, and I'm gonna say this. I DJ'd for my friend's birthday party last year, which was a lingerie theme party, you know, as a hired DJ. And I was in my Afrobeat mode. So I'm playing Burna Boy, you know, I'm playing Afrobeat, I'm playing Davido. Then all of a sudden I played Cole Campbell. If y'all familiar with Cole Campbell from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Cole
Yeah, the
Campbell.
show Cole Campbell. Yeah.
I played Safe With You. So everybody dancing and they don't even know. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm safe with you.
Wow.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And the party went lit. Everybody was like, yo, let me Shazam that. Yo, who's Cole Campbell? Like he's a Christian artist. Conversation started right then and there. Christian.
That's it, Q.
That's fire.
That's the point, Q.
Exactly.
That's all it is. You don't have to acknowledge the title. I don't like I said, I don't go walk around saying no title. I just be like, you know, my name alone, like I'm carrying the name, and they're like, man, okay, let's have a conversation about that. And then all of a sudden you just start spinning music, and then and all of a sudden I got you know the young and the old just Shazamming the songs.
Right.
And you know, like Sean C. Johnson. I'll start a party with Sean C. Johnson every time. One day I'm gonna wake up.
Now, Beach, you mentioned something about like being familiar with music. Even in my mind, as a DJ now, I don't care what he has released, which is fire. Whether it be 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, whatever. Yeah. My song from him, I still go back to Mountains. Oh my God!
Oh God!
I still go back to Mountains.
I got Mountains, Luke Cage, but it's anybody. Like I can play like A1 and Swift. I'll be like especially on Friday nights. I'm live on the air.
Oh yeah, praise God!
I'm live on the radio on Friday nights. So y'all come see me on Friday nights starting at 6 o'clock. I'm competing with 4 hip hop and R&B stations in my region. 1 in Augusta, 1 in Charleston, and 2 in Savannah. Then I'm competing against the R&B stations, 2 in Savannah, 1 in Charleston, and 1 in Augusta. So it's like I'm fighting, you know, this on 6 o'clock because, you know, and then we got the gospel station, which they play like a sermon at 5 o'clock.
I know, right?
So I'm on this, you know, this FM station just playing, and I'm just going live in the mix, and the listeners are just enjoying. Like I never get nobody want to call in because they just want to hear me mix
the music.
And I'm mixing everybody. I go old school, new school, everything you could think of. Like what I mean, I played everybody up in here. Matter of fact, I tapped in and got Omega Sparks. I went into Juggernaut, man. I was like, man, I just want to play Juggernaut real quick. And I mean, just mixing the song, and it's just like the way how they're getting introduced to it. I've had, you know, now go in Walmart. And all of a sudden, I'll run into some people like they're like, "Hey, you know, you DJ Jizz Beats? Yeah, I was listening to you on Friday night." I said, "Why did you call in?" But you know, they were like,
"Is that how their voice sounds?"
They're like,
well, you know, yeah, it's out there in the country.
It's my baby out here. It's my baby.
Yeah. Hey man, we've been on what 2 hours and 37.
Yeah,
man.
But it's a good conversation. I know. With me, it's like I haven't dropped a Christian hip hop album in 10 years.
I know that's right.
Wow.
I haven't. I really haven't. I haven't. So like I've dropped like what 4 albums since.
But your music's motivational,
right? It's motivational, and I've got a chance to share the gospel behind the scenes with people that play video games, and I've created like 4 hip hop video game. I guess if you put a genre to it, it's like nerdcore hip hop. That's actually a subgenre. So I've created 4 nerdcore hip hop albums. Got one about to drop next week or this weekend, and it's like it's crazy. It's like, and I get these. I get a lot of people like, yo, man, when you gonna drop another Christian hip hop? Like, yo, man, like, where you at, man?
Like,
do you still love Jesus? And I'm like, bro. I'm like, man, I'm like, I'm gonna get to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm working on my next Christian hip hop album, but in the meantime, God is still using me.
Yes, he is.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just weird like that. I'm just like, man, I'm not gonna force myself to.
No,
it's not weird.
Your song has been it's already motivated. It's already Christian.
Right.
You're a believer.
Right. Exactly.
I listened to the music you did. That's believer music. It's just you just have a different way. It's motivational. I don't want my take to anybody is I don't want y'all to go just conform to what you have to do what makes you feel good and just do great song, great music.
Exactly.
The God is using y'all to speak life into a lot of people. Everybody don't need to hear Jesus in the music.
Yeah.
It's just what you say that could change somebody's life. You know, you could be talking about, like I said, abuse or relationship issues and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and what's further awesome about that is that, you know, you're speaking to the person who may never go to a Christian hip hop station, or someone who may never walk into a church, or somebody who may never do Christian hip hop things. So you're reaching people right where they are, which is what's most necessary, most needed, and most important. So I know for us back in the day in the early 90s, oh God, I'm telling my age, but
you're young.
we played a lot of bars, clubs, you know, a whole lot of venues like that, especially before we even had a record deal. So we were in a lot of environments where traditionally, you know, people would be like, you know, you shouldn't be in there, you shouldn't do that. But we were able to win a lot of souls by going into those environments where a lot of, you know, technically church folk would be like, you shouldn't be there. But we led a lot of people to Christ in those types of environments. And they didn't know we were Christian hip hop artists. They had no idea. They just knew we were rappers.
Appreciate you.
That's all they knew. And that's all we wanted them to know, because had they known we were Christian, they would have already been turned off in their mind. But because they just thought we were rappers, and people always thought I was a singer anyway, just based off of my appearance.
No, you're an MC. You're
exactly.
MC. You are an MC, my sister.
That was always a double whammy when I had a mic and they heard me spit bars instead of singing. So it was just like, oh, she's a rapper, not a singer. So it was just an extra added.
You know what's crazy? I'm on a podcast, and I'm not trying to be sentimental, but I'm on a podcast with the first female MC I heard after I got saved. Like, I'm so honored.
Is that me? Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Hey, that's right.
First, I was wait a minute. Who is it? I was waiting for the answer.
Before I got, because I have a just a great place in my heart for female MCs. I respect from MC Light and everything. You know what I'm saying? Before I got saved, it was Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill was my MC's MC. I don't care, you know, male or female. I put her on that pedestal. But as far as for someone rhyming for the Lord and having a great time doing it, you were the first female voice I heard as an MC, and I thank God. I thank God, you know, for your ministry. It had an effect on me as a you know, new Christian, and so I just wanted to give you your flowers again.
No wonder you're weird.
No, I'm not.
That's
you're
still
weird
a battle
like
today.
Me. You're weird like me. So I'm just kidding. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I was telling somebody about my wife, who I still manage, and the guy was I was at a barbershop, and I met this guy who's a secular rapper, and I'm like, I manage my wife. And he's like, oh, is she a vocalist? I'm like, come on now. What are we
always
doing you know, because there's females out here smoking dudes. They smoking dudes on the mic with the bars.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even in Christian rap, you got, you know, these girls out here doing it, like AI the Anomaly, Wande. You know, I mean, they smoking crack today, man. What are they talking about?
I definitely want to give you flowers. The flowers due to A1. I'm telling you, it was I got introduced when I got this into 2006. So I learned from all the OGs. Yeah, I learned from the OGs, like as far as like Ronnie Ron and all of them taught me about going back to the crates, digging into the crates, and that's how I knew about A1 and Swift from that. And I was like humbled just to see you on
A1 and Swift.
A1 and Swift.
A1 and Swift.
A1 and Swift.
Well, I must say,
A1
I'm
and Swift,
the A1 and the Swift, but okay.
Okay. But I also got to meet some great MCs, female MCs, like just recently. She just passed away yesterday. Was
yes.
Badia,
yes,
oh,
man.
My God,
Badia, the first female on Cross Movement Records. And
oh gosh,
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Badia. She died 5 days ago, man.
Yeah, Badia came down when they came down here. They had a Truth or Die concert back in 2007 with Flame, R Swift.
Yeah,
like I remember R Swift and them. They came to the airport and they picked her up. They drove all the way down 4 hours down to our area to perform. And I met with her and her husband. And she was a great lyricist. And then of course, Dice Gamble was my very first MC I met at the Holy Hip Hop Awards. So Dice would come around with a big old hat, or say Jesus on it with glitter and everything, and walking around. And but she was like, when she got on the mic, she just like flowed really well. It was just amazing to see that. So yeah, I just gotta give the flowers.
Hey, we got to give also to the first female DJ that I've seen right here, Miss Eclectic Chantel Yvette.
Yes,
man. Hey, who's on those ones and twos?
Congratulations to her.
Yes, definitely. Wow.
I'm so sorry to hear about the
Badia.
Yeah,
I was just online like 2 days ago, like Badia, the passing of Badia.
Yeah,
I was like, Lord, what?
Because she was on Israel was the one that is from Everyday Process had kind of shared a message. And I remember like when they were on the song Hey Girl on their project, Process of Elimination. And I was like, man, that, and like I said, I remember they were always rapped together and stuff like that. And it was just like, man, I was like, I haven't heard from, because I was trying to figure out where she was, I knew she lived in Charlotte or somewhere, but I just saw that
Winston-Salem. Yo, Ron, I rocked the show with her in Winston-Salem.
Yeah. Yes, Winston-Salem. Okay, yeah. Was it? I know we've had it at the Lyrical Coffee House, at Cafe Jam several times. Man.
Gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, again, those just join us again, man. We about to wrap it up now, man. We don't have 2 hours and things, and again, we just want to come on here and just talk about what it is as you as artists out there, and even DJs. What can we do to bring some structure to this genre, Christian hip hop, gospel rap, whatever you want to call it? Again, just what we do, urban gospel, all right? Because and so it's just the fact is that we have some great artists here as well. I mean, all around it, they're doing great music, and we need a system. Okay, again, we need some leadership. All right. I mean, again, if God is tugging on your heart, if you're in a business or what have you, hey, let me put you on mute because you But the fact is that we need some structure. We need some structure so that we can help you artists out there, push you out there as much as possible, because that's what is different between us and mainstream. They have more platforms and visibility compared to what we have. All right. And so that's been my mission for us, creating a platform so that we can have you all out there, independent artists, all of that, so that you have a system that you can depend on. All right, folks that are doing business with integrity, but it has to be intentional. If we really want to see change, we have to be intentional about change. And so, how bad do y'all want it? You know what I'm saying? Again, for those that want to come together, because we've had so many talkers back in the day, and you see where we at right now. All right. So again, how bad do we want to see this grow for the kingdom of God? Because that's what it is all about. That it's all about the kingdom of God. Because that's what I got into, Christian hip hop, urban gospel, whatever. For DJing, being on the radio for over 30 years, playing A1 Swift, others, D-Boy, all of them. Again, I got in it for ministry. All right. And so there's no sin in making money in ministry. All right. Again, because we needed to create more platforms for anointed artists like Omega Sparks and others out there. All right, so that's my ploy. Go ahead.
You should do it, Ron. You create. Just amongst the people in this conversation, and secular hip hop started with the DJs. DJs are a foundation to hip hop. I don't care if it's a subgenre or what. So, why don't we lead this thing? I tell you what, if you just amongst this think tank, we create this system, and then we take 50, start out with a massive group of like 50 of the top Christian hip hop artists. You're gonna have to run it. You're gonna run into like labels and stuff like, no, they're under us and stuff. So you may have to deal with a lot of red tape at first. But if we create that system where the artist is sowing into their ministry, but basically like the apostles, no one is lacking. So the Christian DJs, they have enough finances to travel and do their thing on the radio. The Christian artists, they have their royalties set up, and everyone's generating money, from their position. I think that system, I agree that system is needed. KB on Southside Rabbi, he said this really awesome thing a couple months ago. He said, I think God is doing away with the Christian star,
Come on.
Because that's one issue in Christian. That's one issue in Christian hip hop. Like even before cross movement, you would in Christian hip hop, we would always elect one group or one person as the standard. At first, it was DC Talk. Then it was then it was Grits. Then it was Cross Movement, and then it was Lecrae. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
And so, and then we elect people as the standard. And the issue that made people so upset with Lecrae is Christian hip hop elected him as the standard, and then he said, "I don't want it." And so that's what made people upset. But if you go back and you look at the history of Christian hip hop, every 5 or 6 years, we always elect somebody or some group as the standard. And instead of doing that in this life cycle, let's create a system where no one's the star. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it's supposed to be.
But hip hop is such an individualist, prideful art form. Can you create a system where no one's the star, and still have this genre?
But even if you create a system where no one's the star, maybe their gift just kind of makes them the star.
Well, the main star is Jesus Christ. Okay, he's the main attraction.
Right, of course.
So,
that goes without saying.
So, but we have to be intentional and cast down every vain imagination and pride that's going to lift us up as the star. Yeah. That's an individual thing.
I think that's already started to happen because of the from where I sit anyway. I'll just put it like that. And I'm not saying anyone here has to agree with me, but I've noticed over the last 5 years or so, independent artists who are not getting awards, even if it's like the Kingdom Choice Awards or Gospel Hip Hop Awards, they're not getting even nominated on these platforms. They're not charting on Billboard. They're getting placements. Their music is appearing in movies. They're just getting there are a lot of opportunities, if you will, off the grid, where they're still getting financially rewarded. Right. So I think based on that activity over the last 5 years or so, at least from where I sit, that's a sign that there is God anyway is allowing people to get their piece of the pie. And in his eyes already, there is no star. It's just his people collectively that he's blessing one chunk at one time and in due season. It may not be literally at one time, but it's happening more and more and more and more. From the status quo of this person, this concert, it's not happening as much.
That is my life. You just described my life. I had a conversation with God a couple of years ago, and I said, I'm tired of taxing the church. When I want to go and minister and serve at a church or serve at a youth group, I don't want to charge. But Lord, come on, I want to do good business. Take care of me take care of me on the business front, and then everything I do ministry is free. And I think God was cool with that deal because, you know, I'm getting placements in licensing in movies and video games on national TV. I done been on, like, you know, my music has been on like 80 TV episodes, like, you know, since last, you know, November and stuff, on different networks and stuff like that. And so I'm able to give of ministry. I'm able to give of ministry free without having a nickel and dime. You know, some church that don't have a budget right. God's already taking care of me on the back end with royalties and licensing. So I'm able to just be free in my expression to God. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a part of the system as well, but that takes everybody crossing their T's and dotting their I's, because there's so many artists that cut corners. They spend thousands of dollars on music and won't register on BMI ASCAP. Like, you just don't like money at the point at some point. Like, what in the world?
All the unclaimed artist music, all unclaimed royalties that these artists
are making somebody rich. You're making somebody rich and not yourself. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn it the hard way. I had to fight for every cent of royalties that I've had, and God has blessed me with, you know, saying like close to like $35,000 worth of royalties in the past couple of years. Stuff I never would have had for my family if I did not fight for it, because no one taught me this stuff. I had to learn it myself. And so I said to God, like, man, God, I'm never, you know, I charge people for my time. I charge like $25 an hour. You're gonna pay me for my time. But at the same time, I'm gonna make it less. Right. I'm gonna make it affordable, because you need this information if you're a music artist. Because you just spinning your wheels, you're making all this great music, and you're giving your money away to someone else.
And that's the same again for us with that business structure. Even in marketing and promotions, a lot of artists are running to get on showcases, expecting to build a name for themselves. And it's like, okay, you putting out his music, but don't nobody know you. All right, so why not give it to the DJs who are pushing your music, again, that are promoting you? Because again, I get tired of having artists say, hey man, can you push this for me? Like, yeah, I can, but why? You know what I'm saying? What, again, you know, it's not as, you know, what am I getting out of this? But it's like, do you even appreciate what it is that we do? Because again, we're trying to create more platforms for you to get exposure. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been telling you my intentions are, and I've been doing this trying with radio and this with the DJing side, is just, I just want people to be familiar with all the artist music that we're trying to support. Because right now it's just like there's a lot of music coming out, but nobody doesn't. I want people to be able to sing your song, sing your hit lyrics and hooks. Just like the secular songs that come out, everybody be singing the whole lyrics, the hooks. They familiar with the song, and it's like I said before, it's just like an oversaturation of a lot of music that comes out, and a lot of it gets neglected. A lot of times, what we do is we get music so late. Right now, everybody gives me music on a Friday, and you're giving it to me when the same day as the public. That is backwards, you know, because I don't have time to. Now I gotta spend 2 months of backwards promoting your music to get people more familiar with your songs and stuff like that. And I just want people to be more familiar with it, because I want people to kind of know who you are as an artist. And I don't care about the title of the song, I mean, the title of your genre of the music. I just like, you know, if it's great music, I'm riding till the wheels fall off. And that's why, like what I said earlier with Hot 316 Radio, I've never added new music to the station in almost 2 years. And that's because I wanted my audience to get familiar with the rotation of the songs and be familiar with the songs. And I've seen the listenership going up and up and up, because people are like now more familiar with those artists. Then I'll have the same artists will hit me up and say, hey, I got new music. And I'm like, cool, send it to me. I'm gonna play it on the radio, but I'm on the radio show, but on the radio station, I want them to be familiar with this main single right here, because this is what I want them to be accustomed to hearing. And then I want them to go into, you know, and purchase your music. I'm not really trying to get them just to download the album off of Apple Music. I want them to go to your website if you got one and let them pay like Brinson did. Brinson was smart. Brinson, you know, made everybody go to his website to go get that new album. And his mixtape. His mixtape, you gotta go pre-order the mixtape. And I did that, and I was like, and I said, Brinson, hey, that's a great marketing strategy, because you gotta, because you know, like, you know, we already know how Spotify treats y'all artists. They don't care for like giving y'all the full royalty credit that y'all deserve. You're spending almost 10 $10,000 or even more on working on a project, an album or something, and then on recouping barely almost $300 to $500 because you know they're taking the rest. But I just care about that so much. That's what my strategy. That's my main thing for structure, and try to create an actual top 20 and try to get DJs involved and people like that in radio to kind of be consistent, so we can actually show some reports, show some pie graphs and some charts and stuff, and show y'all the numbers and stats of where y'all music is measuring up at. That's what I want to do. I don't want to just be like, hey, I'm playing your song. I want you to see stats. That this is where you're
right there.
This is your structure. This is where you're growing at. These are the countries that's playing your music. These are the radio people that's in South Africa and this place and that place that's supporting you. So, you know.
Create the system, Ron. I'll follow you, man.
But even with live shows, whether it be small, medium, or large.
Facts.
Because I'm in the New York metro area. I live on Long Island. Grew up on Long Island, and right now, do everything. Go to church on Long Island, and everything, which is obviously outside of New York City. A few years ago, I did a community event for Mike James, who's former NBA player. He's originally from Amityville. So we out there, and I purposely asked young people out there, have you ever heard of Lecrae? No. I'm like, hold up. This is the New York City metro area, and you never heard of Lecrae? In my head.
Same here.
You ever heard of Andy Mineo? Nope. You ever heard of this one? Nope. I named Reach record artists, like the top tier. Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Like a
Long Island has not been penetrated with Christian hip hop yet, and it's 2022. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been DJing for 6 years, and it's scary that a big city like this, a lot of the people don't know these artists, whether it be Lecrae or not.
That's
so
why
live shows, this is important as radio royalties and all that's great, but the live events really also is another angle that bring attention to the genre, and then people pick the artists that they like, popular or not.
Yeah, but you should really be marketing yourself as an artist even before you release a project. You have to be fan building every day. You cannot wait until you're about to drop a project and think you're going to gain 100,000 people. It's just not going to happen. You have to market yourself as an artist every day, whether you have a project out or not.
That's what's happening right now. It's like a lot of artists be doing that same thing that you say, Alicia. They'd be like, I got an album release concert, but you haven't released your album out. What are you doing?
You have to be marketing yourself every day, every single day. You should be sharing on social why you are an artist, why you went into ministry, who inspired you, what types of food, motivates you when you have to go into the studio. Give us 5 to 10 seconds snippet of your lyrics you're working on. Hey, help me finish this lyric. Something. You need to be every single day marketing yourself as an artist. You cannot wait until you drop music.
Do you have to spend money
before you drop music? It's too late.
Alicia, do you have to spend money?
No, you do not.
Not always.
I discovered 10 artists last month through TikTok alone.
Yes,
that's enough, man.
And how long have I been jumping on here, Ronnie Ron, talking about TikTok?
Yes, a while.
Since last year.
Since last year, yep.
You do not need to wait on anybody, and you do not need money to market yourself. If you have a phone, you are in the game.
Exactly.
Period.
I found Scooty Wop. Caleb Gordon did what's that artist that did the song called Glamorous, I think it was, or Fabulous. He took Fergie's he's well known right now. He did that KFC commercial, but it was a secular artist, but Caleb Gordon did the cover song of his. And it was like he spelled out the word glamorous, and he was saying like his thing, and his music, like he did it on TikTok. And that's how he came into my algorithm. But I found his through somebody else doing a dance video from the song.
Those challenges. Let me just say this, and I'm not for the marketing piece. Now, today, Reels has their own music section. They have their own audio section. Whereas before,
you know, if you wanted to put music with your stories or your reels, it had to be,
Yeah.
you know, a popular artist, Beyonce, Chris Brown, Drake, whoever.
Right.
Now, reels music artists, reels, not nobody that's ever been BDS, nobody that's ever been on Billboard. We have to get out of traditional thinking. That is our problem. We think
Amen.
traditionally.
There you go.
No one is thinking traditionally anymore. Today, there are no rules. You can blow up off of TikTok. You can blow up off of Reels. You can market yourself and your music and your products or your t-shirts, whatever you've got going on. If you have a cell phone with an active plan and a Wi-Fi, you have all the marketing you need in your hand, and just build on it every day. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a year. I tell all my clients, whether they're music or small business owners or whatever, it is not a sprint. It is a marathon. It is a one building block at a time process. This isn't working. You go back and you make tweaks here. You have to look at your numbers for your metrics, your analytics on your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Snapchat. You make those necessary changes and you keep creating content. You keep creating reels, TikToks,
right,
posts. Even when you think you're getting on people's nerves with yourself, you keep doing it anyway, because that is how you grow.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, again, guys, it can be done. You have to want to do it, okay? You have to want to do it. And Omega Squad, you're talking about for structure and everything. You know, I'll share this because I was talking with Beats and Mr. C. You know, it's like, okay, first and foremost, I see is we, you know, say we pick a few artists who are ready, that have some solid music, all right, push and promote them, okay? All right, it just, again, that's where the marketing and promotions is always comes in. Yeah, we got to spend money. What? I mean, either purchase billboards here and there. I mean, something, create that visibility to create that system, because most folks, they'll jump on something that's popular. All right. And so again, when it's a continuous effect, and then also another idea I was looking at for us, instead of, all right, normally with these Christian hip hop concerts, and Mr. C brought up a good point. A Christian hip hop concert, if you got about 25, you're doing really good. Okay. Again, because the fact is, a lot of these promoters want to rent out these big buildings, expecting the illusion of mainstream. And again, they don't have a draw. A lot of these Christian hip hop artists don't have that type of draw. So let's have some parties. All right.
We have to be realistic.
Exactly. We got to be realistic.
I'm basically part of a team that runs an open mic. We don't do it often. My guess, like once every 3 to 6 months, we do an event. We've had as little as 10 to 15 people at this church we partner with in Long Beach, and we've had as much as 150 to 200 people in the same building. So it all depends on what the event is, who's on the card, how it's promoted. I found that when I've done street promotions for this particular open mic, I've gone out, because I also work in that community where this church is. We've gone up and down and handed out flyers and talked to people. Even if all those people that we talked to didn't show up for whatever reason, I don't know how God does it, but a lot of people, for us, for you know, like the 100 or whatever, they show up for those events. When you go out there and you make a little bit more effort to talk to people and put something in their hand that they can see, like, oh, this is coming up, you know. But when we don't do it, or if it doesn't flow that way, the 25 to 30 people will show up, the people that are familiar with the platform. But then when you put a little bit more work into it, so what I'm trying to say is we're looking for the Lecrae numbers. You know, I went to a couple of his concerts. The first time he came to New York, it was like 800-900 people. He came back, promoted again. When he came back the next year, it was like 1,200-1,300 people in that same venue in Midtown Manhattan. We want those numbers, but he's in a totally different stratosphere. Let's face it. So what I'm trying to say is with the open mics, you know, if you're getting 25, 30, 50 people at an open mic, you are doing fantastic.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
I tell you what, maybe we should talk about this off air, but so I have a new single that's about to come out with Dice Gamble. Dice Gamble.
Oh man.
And that's my big sis. bath. We're gonna take a bath in a minute. No, I gave him a bath, but he wants another bath.
Yeah. Better be careful how you say that now.
Right. Baptize this kid. Hold on a second, son. But yeah, we got me and my sister. We're coming out with a small EP this year, and
awesome.
We've been talking for a couple months now about it. We got our first single, "We Live This," that's produced by K Drama that we're about to drop. I'm gonna pay for your marketing plan, and because for a couple of reasons. One is I really feel like in amongst the 6 people talking and the few people that had to go, like Q and Scooter, amongst this think tank right here of brilliant minds, lies the answer somewhere, as far as for, if that's what's needed in Christian hip hop, more structure, more, I think it's in this conversation. And so I would just encourage you to, in any way you can, to keep this conversation going amongst this group of people, to see if there's a structure that we can, create. But as an artist, I want to be like one of the first to sow into it, and so I don't pretend to know everything myself. I thank God for some success that I've seen in my life, but if I want to sow into this, man. Like what, y'all take me and Dice Gamble's new song and show us how we can maximize this. We're gonna still do our thing, like Alicia said. I market myself as an artist every single day. And yeah.
Well, I'm willing to invest as well, which again, that's good. That's as part of the structure, because if we create a model here and put on different events like parties, what I was alluding to, like for as more of a fellowship and things of a DJ driven more than an artist driven, and all of us coming together, having fun, playing the music, pushing that, and then say, all right, I say we have this event again. I'm just talking hypothetically, paying what $5 or $10 at the door. Partial proceeds go towards that particular artist or group that we are highlighting to help support them, and we do that around in different cities around it. You know what I'm saying, to keep that going. To the buzz will definitely generate, and folks were like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of this, because I know that this is the system or the funnel that I can get my music out there. Again, just awesome. throwing different ideas.
And to follow up what Mr. Sealive was talking about just a second ago, one of the unfortunate what's the word I'm looking for? One of the unfortunate things that's been a result of the superstar, the CHH superstar, right, is you have artists who drop singles and then they want to fill a stadium,
right?
Like Lecrae did, when that may not necessarily be the end game, right? Like we're talking about impact. We're talking about and I mean, let's look at this thing full circle, right? Like, God is the one who supplies everything that we need, right? So if CHH is the vessel that he uses to do that, then I can trust him in that. But I need my expectations to be accurate. I need my and not that they have to be like super, super low. Realistic. And not that I can't believe God to do great things. And not that I can't expect him to meet my needs through the vessel and the vehicle of hip hop, so to speak. But there has to be, because there's a lot of wisdom sitting with these 6 people that we're here right now, right? There's a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience, even with the previous 2 brothers that were here with us just a minute ago. There's a lot of just trailblazing and putting the work in and experience that people need to hear. Like, if you really believe that God is calling you to do hip hop as a believer and make a living with it, then you need to listen. You need to sit down, like, all right, put in the work, make the music, make dope tracks, submit them to us, but then sit down and listen, because there are things that you don't know.
Yeah.
There are things that you don't see on the other side of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and being on that stage in front of 15,000 people. You don't know the conversations that go on in the green rooms. I don't either, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't either, but
so I'm just saying, like, I know that there are people sitting in these seats right now that you're seeing right now that have a wealth that can sit there and tell you, you know what? All right, this is good. This is not. You need to sit down and wait with this piece right here. You need to work on this. You need to develop your sound right here. Yeah. So and Omega, man. I just want to encourage you, man. Nerdcore is the vibe right now, man.
It is.
Like,
it really is.
I'm a closet nerd, so like I don't let a lot of people know that, but it's the vibe right now, man. Like,
Yeah,
and
man.
there is so much harvest there. Like, you were talking about ministry and have an opportunity to present the gospel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there is so, and it's white, man. It's ready. There are people who are looking for Jesus and they don't even know it. So
Exactly.
Amen.
just
Amen.
Hallelujah.
bro. Like,
Thank you, man.
I just want to affirm you in that.
I'm proud of you, brother. Definitely.
Affirm everybody here, man. Like, everybody that's here. Like, each person has a piece. Each person has, and I don't know how much I would have to contribute.
You
But
contribute a lot.
because I'm old school when it comes to CHH, right? Like,
Same here.
Like, all the way back to Stephen Wiley, man, Bible
Same.
Break and
Yep.
PID and SFC,
Same
and
here.
I mean, I can't get out of here without mentioning A1 Swift.
not alive anyway.
And you know, I mean, DC Talk got mentioned earlier. I mean, like, all these cats, man. Like, I like, that's what I cut my teeth on, right? I cut my teeth on that stuff because my parents wouldn't let me listen to Run DMC and, you know, NWA and all that, right? I had to find out about that stuff in other ways. But like, the music had an impact on my life.
Same here.
There are certain moments where I can hear a song from different times and times past. I can remember where I was. I can remember what was going on, and I believe that at least in this season with CHH, that it seems that the Lord is bringing some opposition to those people who are proud. And really trying to build the I don't even want to call it a genre. Some people have called it a movement, whatever the case is. The grouping, the calling of people, right? He is wanting to bring people together for the purpose of kingdom business. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to call yourself a CHH artist outright.
Right.
You can call yourself a hip hop artist and be a believer. Again, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And if the Lord is calling you to do it as a full-time vocation, then He'll provide for that. And there's no shame in that. There is no
shame.
A lot of people will try and shame that. As a DJ, I'm not going to. Like, there's no shame in that. There's no. But there's got to be a lot of wisdom, and coming back full circle, the wisdom, there is a ton of wisdom sitting right here.
And Shane, again, what you saying for us, making it a vocation, we've been having problems within CHH and gospel of folks doing bad business. All right. And again, it is unfortunate, but it's like, okay, look, you know what? Let's put a stop to this. And again, do your research. You all as artists, research these folks that say that they could do this and that. All right. I mean, nothing personal, but just like, look, your money is at stake here, and you don't want to waste your money. All right. So, yeah, let's stop doing bad business in Christian hip hop so that we can help these artists, gospel art. Again, let's create these platforms. Let's create this system here, which I believe it can work. We have to be intentional and make it work.
I got the first single for Omega Sparks. Your first title for your first single.
What's that, brother? Wait, bath. Yeah, bath. Man, taking a splash. Hey, running to the Lord, running on the dash.
Hey, look quick. Hey, y'all. Any last words, man? It's 3 hours. Wow, man. Hey, this has been rich and everything. Hey, Mr. C, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just want to just encourage the artists. Like I said earlier, one of the things I testified about is speaking God into somebody's situation and encouraging somebody to keep going with in this case, the artist with their craft, and so that the artist can then turn around and encourage somebody in their life. So it's a domino effect in the positive, of course. And I would just like to be just a contributor of that continuing to happen. So that's why I know myself, you, and Jesus Beats agreed that it's not a combative conversation.
No.
I love everybody on this platform.
Same here.
Presently here and the ones that was on earlier.
Right.
And I just want to be a small part and doing something that's bigger than me.
Praise God. Amen. Amen. Go ahead, Beats.
How does it feel to be me?
It came. It came.
Like this.
Classic movie.
No, all jokes aside, I really enjoyed this. This was a great conversation, and I think it's much needed. And I enjoyed everybody's response. I think this was like one of the best conversations I've ever had in a while. Where everybody just hearing from all sides, and even just pioneers. It's like, man, it's humbling to have people that you listen to the music and they're right here with you, talking to you. And I don't put nobody on a pedestal, but it's like just humbling, just to see that.
Hey, part of the foundation.
So, yeah. And but overall, I just enjoy this, and I'm ready to invest too. Like I said, I've been going at this for a long time, and I'm still gonna keep going, and I'm just excited to see hear all the new music and all these artists, and I just really want to find a way to, like I said, to support. And right now, I see a lot of artists that will just get upset, they quit, they give up because they feel like they're not getting what they're supposed to be getting. But I think what's missing is what we have in here, having these discussions, but also having I think BBJ came on it earlier. He said he wanted to put something together in Atlanta for something like this to help out artists and stuff. So
right,
I think this is so I just thank you guys. Thank Ron for putting this together, and Mr. C having that conversation. So.
Amen. Praise God. And again, I know it just started with the three of us and all just, coming together with this and being intentional, as I said, because that's the only way that we're going to see change. If we really want to, we have to be intentional and make it. I'm pretty much happen. Omega Sparks, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I really enjoyed this conversation. This was great. Calm down, son. Lord, they have been enjoying their summer break. Lord, I'm gonna say this. So you think about, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. You think about, the people that came before us, how they created, Rap Fest, and they created, Flavor Fest. They created platforms and stuff. Think about it like this. Maybe they had the similar conversations amongst their peers, and they said something needs to be done. Right. And so I think this is a pregnant moment, because I used to be that young, disgruntled Christian rapper that's being underutilized in the church, and the pastor doesn't understand my ministry, and I just have a heart for the streets. And, God has said, you're not that kid anymore, son. I'm calling you to be a leader now. What do you have to say to the generation coming after you? You're not that young, disgruntled kid anymore. You're at a place of peace and everything right now. So what do you have to say to the generation coming after you? And I could tell by this conversation, we have a lot to say to the generation that's going to make their ministry more viable. It's going to even deliver them from some hurts and pains and some wrong motives and thoughts that they're carrying into their music journey and stuff like that. So I just pray, I thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for facilitating this, DJ Ron. And I pray some more great conversations and structures come from this conversation tonight.
Hey, we're definitely going to do that. And again, I definitely say to you, man, as long as I've known you, I think since 2006 or whatever, down in North Carolina, moving it, man, you've been consistent, the same person as you are. And I appreciate that, bro. Thank you, man. Love you for that, bro. All right. Alicia, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So just any artists listening, watching, whatever, just be intentional, be every day consistent. And if God be for you, who can be against you? It's just a matter of staying focused, keeping your nose to the grind, and believing that God will deliver on his promises.
Man, from the part of the foundation of Christian hip hop right here, gospel rap, whatever it was called, gospel rap back then. But
it was gospel rap.
That's right. Yeah, but again, thank God for a legend right here. And yes, again, even as hip hop mainstream, they honor their legends. We got to honor ours. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. So yeah,
like the people said before me, this is a great platform, and thanks for the unexpected invite.
Hey, we know. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, go ahead, Shane.
Man, no, like I said, like I came in from cutting the grass and I'm like commenting on the stream, and then DJ Ron sends me an invite. I'm like, oh, whoa, hold on now. I don't. No, seriously. I feel honored to be a part, and excited about what God's doing. I know this is the beginning of a conversation, but I believe that it can grow into more of that. So just want to encourage anybody who's watching. If you're an artist, DJ, anything like that, if you got questions, ask these folks. Because if you don't ask, then you won't know. And again, there's a lot of things that everybody here and everybody who's been here can help you to avoid pitfalls and things of that nature. So yeah. So with that, just be wise and keep on.
Amen. Again, well, thank you all so much, everyone that has come on board. And again, Q the Prophet, Scooter, again, we wasn't really expecting this and all. I mean, but hey, God is blessed. And as I said, there's no superstars here. All right. Christ is the main attraction. He is the star. So let's be intentional about that and creating this system for his glory. All right. Because there's a lot of anointed artists out there. I've been in this for over 30 years, and I give God all the glory. And yeah, there's been time, I thought about walking away, but it's just, man, that drive for ministry, man, it's just not letting me do it because, me coming from Orlando, where there's always something to do, as Beats have seen and things, and it's just like, hey, you know what? Hey, let's celebrate who we are in Christ. Let's come together, fellowship, and let's grow. Let's do business with one another. Let's do it with integrity, okay? And it can be done. I mean, anything can be done. So let's be intentional. That is the word. The word for the day is intentional.
Intentional. We're supposed to repeat it. Intentional.
It's intentional. Never failing.
That's right. Amen. Well, look, God bless y'all, man. 3 hours and 26 minutes, man.
This is my radio show. This is my radio show link right there.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. I mean, your time flown by quick. Wow. Wow. Well, hey, yeah, we'll probably do this. We'll definitely do this. I'll do this again. We'll let you know. But yes, let's create this think tank. Think tank.
Tough to say.
I know, right? Hey, and let's grow, y'all. Let's make it work. I believe in all of us. And for those who are watching, look, if you want to get on board to be a part of this, create this system that we need, let's do it. Hey, Lord, send the right people in Jesus' name, Lord. All right. Hey, look, well, God bless you if all hearts are clear. And hey, y'all, hold on the line there. Peace out.